Here comes the Daverhood. Good morning, everybody. We're here live.
Good morning, David.
Good morning, my beautiful and adorable and wonderful wife, Joyce, and my beautiful and adorable and wonderful me, Dave.
Say that you're a guest
and
host.
My very, very special guest host, Potato, today is going to be, what is Potato going to be doing on the show? Do you know?
He wanted to be on the show. I'm not sure why.
Oh, so do you have anything planned?
No. No.
Are you going to perform? Are you going to sing? Are you going to dance?
No.
I can dance a little.
Wait.
How long is that dance, Potato? 20 minutes. Okay.
Show him where the crackers are. He could eat crackers on TV.
That. You know what kind of mess that would make? Ketchup, we could maybe. Or
that's even more liquid. Liquid's bad.
Liquid is bad. By the way, we're feeling liquidy and wonderful today.
He wants to show you how to play his basketball.
Yeah, we're going to show the orb is no longer here. We have so much to talk about. Anyway,
I'll go down and get the pseudo.
The orb is gone. No, it's go. Get the pseudo orbit. Yay!
I have to get.
While you're doing that, I'm going to play our theme song for this program, which is called "Dave's Gone By" with me. I'll get the right place here. Now I can play it.
I'll go get the orb.
Get the orb while I try and make this thing work. That'd be good. Oh, no wonder. Here we go.
You got it, honey.
Just to do that and that. See, this is the preamble. This is the actual show. The show we get perfectly right, especially when it starts like this.
Good morning. There goes the Daverhood.
And there was much rejoicing.
Didn't your meds kick in yet?
We got David Lefkowitz here. He's a Long Island Hearts guy. He's got his own radio show.
I want you all to really enjoy a wonderful program done by a fine artist.
A glorious thing of unparalleled beauty.
Dave's Gone By. Dave is one of my very favorite broadcasters, so keep on listening to Mr. Dave.
Flamingo in a fruit fight. Every color of day.
Well, there goes the Daverhood. Good morning, everybody, and welcome, and thank you for the big old thumbs up from Tony, and welcome to Alex and Charlie, and my cousin Alex, actually, and all the folks who are watching and listening live on this Saturday morning, the first Saturday of March 2019, for the 687th episode of the Dave's Gone By Facebookio, Podcastio, Streamio radio program of The Stream. I'm still working on that. I'm Dave Lefkowitz. My darling and adorable wife, Joyce, will be joining us in just a moment or two to get things underway on this way cool special episode of the show, of the show, which we are calling Tailor Made. Tailor Made. Why would we be calling it that? Because very, very happy to have a special guest on the show. I think it's our second celebrity of this year, of 2019, because we haven't had a lot of celebrity special guests so far this annum. That'll change probably, but we had Jay Lenhart, the very, very well-known and very accomplished jazz and classical bass player, on about 2 or 3 weeks ago. But now we have a TV person, someone that thank you, your average person will know from her years in movies and on TV. She and her husband, Joseph Bologna, collaborated on an early 1970s film called Lovers and Other Strangers, and then they followed that up with Made for Each Other, and they ended up working together for decades on TV projects, movie projects, screenplays, teleplays. But as an actress, you're going to know her probably the most from her years playing the mother of Fran Drescher on The Nanny. Of course, I'm talking about Renee Taylor, who is going to be with us in the Daverhood talking to the one, the only, the Jewish Rabbi Saul Solomon. So that's going to be, should be a blast. And by the way, Renee Taylor, you can go see her. I should be mentioning this. She's going to be playing on Long Island because she did an off-Broadway show last year that got extended and was really popular. It was called My Life on a Diet, and she's going to be playing that in the middle of March. Do I have it written down here? No, shame on me.
Here.
But we'll mention it later. My Life on a Diet. I believe it's going to be at
I'll
the...
tell you. I'll
yeah.
look it up on my phone.
Oh, wait, it's at the Gateway Theater in Bellport, March 15th and 16th. And then also all our West Coast listeners can see her in Beverly Hills in early April.
Oh, Beverly Hills.
And what's kind of cool is when she started working on that show, My Life on a Diet, her husband, Joe Bologna,
Have a drink of iced tea. Iced tea.
was directing it. He passed away
Really?
about a year ago. So she's still getting over that. But it's nice that he's kind of still with her in that they developed the show together. He directed it initially. But now she's been doing it. She's done it in a couple of different places and off-Broadway. And you can go see her on Long Island in just a week or so, playing at the theater in Bellport. But you can hear her right here today.
Will she talk about her show?
Mhm.
Do you think?
Of course, she'll talk about My Life on a Diet. She'll talk about her many years with Joe Bologna. She'll talk about doing movies and TV and The Nanny and whatever else Rabbi Saul chooses to ask Renee Taylor about. So don't miss that right here, right, coming up in about an hour or so on Dave's Gone By. Also, want to let you know the other things. Oh, big thumbs up there, I guess, from Reggie, or maybe it was from James. Thank you so much. Reggie. What a wonderful name he has.
It was for Reginald, probably. Reginald's the real name.
Yeah.
Ask him. Or is it a girl? It could be Regina.
No, it's Reggie. It looks like a male. It's Reggie. I'm not going to say the last name. Reginald.
Ask him if it's Reginald.
Okay, is Reggie, on your birth certificate, were you Reginald or were you directly Reggie? Let us know. Just the thing is, anybody can message me right here on the Facebook page, Radio Dave Lefkowitz. Just send me a public message.
Page
of the Streamio Area Radio.
That's pretty nice.
Yeah. So
ask Potato, your co-host. What does he think?
Potato, where does Reggie come from? Is it Reginald? This is not the right person to ask. It could be from Regina?
No.
Yeah, I don't think it's from Regina. I mean, it could be. A woman called Reggie would be Regina.
Potato, go back to your point.
Okay. Yeah.
He's no Ed McMahon, not for nothing.
He's closer to an Egg McMuffin if you think about it.
That's funny.
There's
that.
that.
Very funny.
Thank you.
That was very funny.
That laugh that I can't live without. That's my darling and adorable wife, Joyce, who created this for me.
Oh, don't no, tell people to send in $9.99 and they can wish upon the magic orb and their dreams will come true.
Now, see, here's the deal, folks. Out of nowhere this week, like literally a day and a half ago, I'm coming back from work. I'm walking down what we call Broadway here, not New York Broadway, but Broadway in this town.
Thanks for our Argentinian friend.
That's right. And I'm just minding my own business when what should I spy in the street?
Oh, God.
But this. A squishy fake Nerf egg.
No, it's basketball.
Well, okay, you call it a basketball.
Yes.
I call it an egg. And by Jaru, if that's the maker, which I've never heard of.
That's a good company.
You've heard of Jaru?
Probably in the 99-cent stores.
Right. So, well, and also I'm
the
Jaruish.
99-cent stores that are $2.50.
Oh, exactly. But no, this wasn't $2.50 or $99. No. It was free because it was lying in the gutter and I picked it up. So I thought, what a cool thing. It's nice and soft.
Don't do that.
I brought it home and immediately Potato didn't realize that this was a sport object. It's actually, to him, is an egg to lay another potato. So he's been sitting on it relentlessly.
They give live birth, right?
Oh, God! We've been putting Desitin on his butt because it's been sore. Because he's been trying to hatch this for days. Oh, God! Yeah, it's taking a while. So
look at him, he's scared. He's standing behind me scared. He scared the dog.
Yeah, it would. If it's hatched, I would be scared.
I'd be scared too, sweetie.
So I found this orange globular basketball thing in the street, and me being me, took it home.
I gotta be me.
Gave it to Potato, And, didn't think much more about it. And then what happened yesterday? Joyce and I are walking along, and we find, as we're walking down the street, a plastic yellow hollow globe sort of thing, like something that would fit over a light bulb, but a light bulb outside, not like a sconce.
It looked like from a gumball machine of some kid's toy or something. It was from
It's too
like
big
a
for a
Fisher
kid's
Price.
toy.
It was.
Yeah, and we bring it home because
Of course we do.
I bring it home. It says, and it's yellow. It says yellow as this thing is orange.
It's yellow like the color of that.
And I'm excited by it. I'm bringing it home because it's like a magic orb.
Yes.
And then my mom sees it because we're living with my mother and father while we're here in New York for a bit. And she's like, "Oh, what is that?" And we try to explain. We have no idea.
You tried to.
I was like, "Wait."
I was not involved in that whole scenario.
And she says, "Well, where did you get that?" And I said, "Found it lying on the street." And she just pointed to the garbage can. No, she's just like, I'm like, but it's a magical orb. And she's like, no, it's garbage. Put it in the garbage can.
But what became of it?
I became very sad.
Yes.
I became very upset at this, at losing a magical touchstone orb. So Joyce.
Well, but I mustered together all my
Use mustard?
years of being a camp counselor with crying children, and I know what works.
So she drew me a replacement
Show them the
orb.
magic part. Show them the magic.
This is the waves
yes, the
coming
magic.
off
And
it.
there's a little dirt on it too.
Can you feel the power? Because it was dirty it wasn't that dirty when I picked it up off the ground.
It wasn't super dirty, but
It wasn't super clean either.
No.
So Joyce made me my very own cleaner version of the orb because Mommy made me throw out the other one.
It's one-dimensional, but here's the other version.
Yeah, but it still works. It still has the magic. So folks at home, honestly, if you are not feeling well or you know people who are sick or need help with something, you can make a wish upon the magic glowing orb. And hopefully, I can't guarantee that it will come true. That would be wrong of me.
Let me do it.
But feel that you pull your hand in. There you go. Feel the healing power of the magic orb. So if you have a sore throat or something, or some even worse, lupus, some horrible disease, or you have money troubles.
Yes.
What other kind of troubles
Love,
could
if people need love.
Oh,
love,
yes, if you're
love,
fighting with your significant other.
Yeah, they need love problems.
Wish and pray upon the magic orb.
Yes.
And then send $9.99 to Dave Lefkowitz. I'll give my P.O. box, but I don't have that anymore.
No.
So
You could send it via the PayPal.
because I'm sure this is how the con artists and
Of course,
they start.
course. There's a woman on Broadway who's like one of them, like a tarot reader. I would love to just you could say anything like, "Oh, you're having some trouble, right? But things will get better. It's going to be a rough patch. Is there someone with an M?"
Oh yeah, of course,
your
yeah.
mom or someone, Maria, or someone with the D. You pick the common. It's like Wheel of Fortune. You pick the common letters that people, the letters that are commonly used.
Right. But Penn and Teller have been trying to debunk these people for years, and they still the John Edwards,
Yes.
Who's that little gay kid who's the blonde one who looks like a Q-tip?
But people want resolution, so they do it. They I can see it. I'm very susceptible. I can understand it. Because sometimes you want resolution so badly and normal channels don't work.
Right.
That, the expression any port in a storm, you're like, just whatever.
But you even like that Long Island psychic woman, and that just, that grates me.
It's funny because her ex-husband looks exactly like the chair of my department. So whenever I see her, I'm like, what's he doing there? Why is he on TV? They could be brothers.
Well, he needs a new job like all of us, yeah.
But they could be brothers or cousins. It's very funny. That throws me a little bit. I'm like,
no, but it's like, yes, 99.9% of the time they're making the person feel bad. Oh, they're saying, don't worry about your problems, and I'm fine, and I'm looking after you.
You're free.
It's horse crap.
Yeah.
But it's pleasant horse crap, but it still lies.
Channel the Potato King. Maybe he can do some.
Let's see.
Come do some oracling.
Potato, can you channel? Yes, on the Food Network. That's very funny, Potato. Here, go hatch your egg. Bear down.
Okay, David, let him be.
So, but the weird part is, and we broke the spell.
What's
And I'm sorry, but I do sort of blame you on this. So first we found this, right?
Yeah.
For free, in the street, lying there, Nerf basketball egg.
Yeah.
Then we find the magical, beautiful orb. which my mother makes me throw out.
Yes.
And then as we're walking along, same day, big red
No,
ball.
that was not. That was in a schoolyard behind a gate.
Yes.
Anything behind the gate is private.
They should have. There's no schoolyard leaves a big red ball
Yes,
in the middle of the
that
yard.
Schoolyard. Maybe they leave that for the weekend.
They don't. If they leave it all the time, how come it was never there before?
I saw it once before. I think it's always there.
I would say if I'd gone and gotten that big red ball, there would be. I would have 10 other balls and orbs right now. But we broke the spell. We broke the beauty of collecting round orbs. Because also, we would have had the rainbow. This was orange. The thing was yellow. Then it was a big red ball.
They were all on the same spectrum. We didn't get anything green or purple or blue.
Because we didn't see them. After I refused to take the red ball, there were no more balls.
Honey.
Yes? What?
You're like when Tina and my friend went out.
I got a couple of brown balls turning gray at the moment.
We had I told you we loved this one coffee shop and we went there. It was beautiful. They have great coffee, great tea.
Yeah.
And so we want biscotti or biscotti, or
yeah.
what American people say. And so we're trying to get it, and the woman goes, "I just have chocolate and buckwheat balls or banana and chocolate balls." So I look at my friend, I'm like, "Oh God." She looks at me, we're like, "We'll take one of each ball." Okay, there you go. They were delicious balls.
I'm sure they were.
Yeah.
Were they salty chocolate balls?
I think they were organic, but they had buckwheat and chocolate, and the other one had pieces of banana. It was like banana and chocolate. It was good.
No nuts?
No nuts in the balls.
No nuts in the balls, huh?
No, it was delicious. They were delicious.
It was a hairy experience, I guess. I'm sorry, I'm just being testy.
You are.
I don't get it.
Okay.
Anyway, and Pam, number one fan Pam is. Remember she used to tune in all the time.
Pam.
Now I see her all the time, but
Pam, she's beautiful.
Pam is beautiful. She is a lovely lady.
You are beautiful, Miss Pam.
You are beautiful, Miss Pam. I'm not getting in the way of husband Arnold. He's a lucky man.
Pam is a beautiful person inside and out. She's truly.
Well, I don't know about her guts and her blood.
She's a very kind person. I've seen her be very compassionate to people in the library.
That's true.
That was nice to see.
And she's saying, "Oh, what do you mean just stopping by to say hi? You're not going to tune in for the whole 2.5 hours? Well, you're no longer number one fan, Pam."
Uh-oh.
Hell no. Pam says, "Aw." She's responding to.
Show her the magic orb. Show her the magic orb.
Oh, this magic orb. Sure. Here, Pam, make a wish on the magic orb. There you go. There. Free opera tickets for life. Pray for that. Yeah. See, ooh. Feel the waves coming off it. Anyway, so I'm upset that I now will not find, I'm sure the red ball will be gone.
Yes.
If it's not,
okay,
we're getting that red ball. And then other balls will come to us. Multiple balls. Don't you think so? Don't you agree?
Hope not. I'm not feeling the ball issue right now.
So let's see what happens besides the ball stuff. Oh, we're getting a lot of smiley, happy faces. Oh.
What?
Well, congratulations. Pam wrote back to say, you were saying that she's beautiful inside and out. She said, "I just had a colonoscopy. I am beautiful inside and out."
Pam, TMI, Pam. Too soon.
Yeah.
Tell her my mother showed me, when I went to see my mother, she showed me her colonoscopy slides, which were basically the inside of her. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, not a good, never, when you have a parent who's a nurse, TMI constantly.
Wrecked him. I nearly killed him.
I saw they have color photos. They give you a sheet of color photos. Why?
Well, why? Because when you have a colonoscopy, they have to tell the whole story.
Oh, God. Nasty.
Ask me another.
I told you this.
No buts about it. Yes.
So my Aunt Helen was a lovely woman, and she went for colonoscopy, and I went with her. She's my great aunt. I loved her.
Yeah.
So I'm with her, and she says to me, "Joyce Ann, how come there's a garden hose in the OR? Like, what are they going to do? Is that to clean it?"
Oh, God.
And I said, "Aunt Helen, that goes up your hoot-hoot." She was like, "Oh, my God."
But isn't it now like a tiny fiber optic?
But it's a lot. You've got a lot of room in there.
Yeah. Oh.
It's a lot of lineage, like a lot of.
I'm due. I'm 55 years old. There's probably poop in me from one of my 20s that hasn't come out there that I have to dig just to get the tube in.
Oh.
What? Did you say tuber? No, I said tube. He's being a very annoying co-host, I have to say.
I don't know why you picked picked him. I don't know. Of all the ones, why did you? I mean, he's got a nice bow. His bow is very tight and cute. Look at the bow.
Yeah. Look,
And the color of the ribbon is phenomenal.
But
It's a
this is
beautiful
all
color.
constantly in his eye.
But the ribbon is beautiful. That's a beautiful color ribbon.
Why, thank you. Thank
It's very,
you.
very, it looks like he was pristinely kept, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was maybe show potato.
Oh, they have those, you
I
know.
think he's a
He was
show-
purebred.
I think he is.
No, don't put me on bread. No, I'm.
Oh, David.
Anywho. By the way, welcome to Jeff.
That's what you get from genetic inbreeding.
No, this is what you get from genetic inbreeding. This is 2,000 years of Jewish
You could
culture.
have done your 23andMe on the air.
I could, still
You
could.
got to register it though.
Oh, okay. I'll do it maybe next week. That'll be a
Yeah.
big thing.
We can register the your stuff before, and then you could spit in the tube on the air, and then I'll pack it up so you could send it.
Oh, that'd be great. We'll
Maybe
do
that's next
23andMe, and I'll find out if I'm actually Jewish. I wonder.
You might not be. You might be a Nazi. We don't know. You don't know.
I know. I'm Russian, Polish.
You don't know.
Definitely Polish.
I got a lot of stuff. You don't know.
Maybe a pinch Neanderthal and Hungarian.
Everybody's
'Cause
got,
that's a-
everybody's got Neanderthal in them.
Yeah.
I have no Native American though.
Oh, I'm sure I
I have
don't.
some African.
I'm the Issapaca-Waini tribe, I guess.
Issapaca-Waini.
Yeah. Anyway, welcome, by the way, to I can't even see, but Jeff.
I think
Jeff
Ahuva
is
Ahuva there.
from one of the newspapers around these parts, and Yvette. Ooh.
Tell them about your story about Vicki Lawrence. They could read it.
If you want to know about my multi-talent, ladies and gentlemen,
Yes.
all the things I do that when I'm not on this program.
It was very interesting. She had a very interesting life. I didn't realize it was so layered.
Well, years ago, we interviewed Vicki Lawrence on this program.
She's a friend
Vicki Lawrence, of course, from the Carol Burnett Show and from Mama's Family, and she's doing her one-woman show as well. Oh, and she's on Fox's The Cool Kids with Leslie Jordan, who's also a friend of the Daverhood. But Vicki Lawrence, she's still doing stuff, and she's touring and all that. So Long Island Woman magazine wanted an interview with her, and they sent me. And so if you get the current issue, the March issue of Long Island Woman, it's free. You can get it at the local libraries. You can get it at stores, bagel shops, wherever you get your free newspapers. That's where you can get it.
Either wardrobe or hair or something for Elvis. I mean, very interesting.
Oh, her husband,
stories.
yeah. Oh, yeah, no, and she's very nice to talk. I mean, I did the interview and I wrote it up, and it's in Long Island Woman
You
magazine.
should have asked her if her natural hair color was red, or did she do that to match Carol Burnett?
Ooh, that's interesting. Does the carpet match the drapes? I don't know if I would ask it quite that way,
No,
but that would have been a good. I'll bet it was back in the day.
You think?
Now they probably go to the same hairstylist with the same colorist, but yeah. I think it was just more a natural thing.
Oh, okay.
And remember, Carol Burnett was on black and white TV back. Well,
No, I remember her in color.
really?
Yeah.
Well, I'm talking like Once Upon a Mattress era,
No, I'm
and
talking about when she did the Carol Burnett show. That's
right. Yeah.
it.
Good question.
I don't know, babe.
Anywho, so if you get a chance to read that, I would say you can read it online, but I'm not sure. They don't take the stories of Long Island Woman and just put them. It's not like they have a website
They don't have,
where you
they don't
can.
have online?
What they have is they do this thing called issue. This is it's a handkerchief.
I don't get it.
It's sort of like PDFing the entire issue.
Many places do that.
Yeah,
you could
as
scroll
opposed to
through.
having these, like the way Long Island Pulse used to, which was a website with all the content. This is just like, here's a website if you're interested
I
in
like
looking
that
at.
better because you can scroll through.
Well, it gives you the visual of what the story looks like. That's true.
That's what I like.
But they also want to sell back issues, so they don't give you just all the material. So if you want to see the current issue, you can probably scroll through on issue
Interesting.
and see it. But anyway, I'm in there. So yay for me. Welcome to
Let me know if you want water.
Oh, thank you so much for asking. What else do we want to talk about? Well, since last we spoke, was last Saturday, was my dad's birthday.
Happy birthday
And
to
to
you.
Dad, happy birthday.
And we got him a teeny weeny Carvel cake. He did not get the cookie puss, but he got a really cute. It was teeny but adorable.
It wasn't teeny. It was
it was like show them.
well, it was big enough for the
Yeah.
5 people who had some.
No. When
4.
there was 5. You're right. It was your mother, your father, yourself, me, Ollie, and her daughter.
And her daughter.
6.
Right.
That's good.
6 people. It was 6 people.
And it wasn't tiny slices.
No, they were good-sized
Yeah.
slices. Worked out to about $2 a slice, which is a reasonable
But I think
price
it's,
for.
I think it's,
Notice the Jew
no,
calculating.
I think it's great because like last minute we could pick it up in the grocery store.
Yeah.
We can go without cake.
Yeah, and it was perfectly delicious. And there's something
Yes.
about Carvel, something about the way they mix
It's less air.
the
More
less air in the Carvel. I'm Tom Carvel. There's the
There
cookie
must be
puss.
something in that formula that's proprietary. Because I told you my mom's story when she went to Valley Stream, which is a local mall, Grain Acres. She kept asking people for frozen custard. I said, "Mommy, nobody knows what frozen custard is. That's like from the
Well, there's
that's
soft
from
ice cream.
Pennsylvania."
Yeah.
And then we kept looking, and they wanted to give her yogurt, like frozen
No.
yogurt. And I said to her, "Just get an ice cream cone, and it's better."
Yeah,
So
but
she
maybe
went,
if you asked for soft ice cream, they would know that better.
yeah, but most places it was like Haagen-Dazs. They just have the big.
Because custard has the consistency of frozen yogurt.
Yes, yeah. I
But-
was like, "Mom."
But it's true that like Dairy Queen does a thing that's like her, and they actually have fudge in there. They have like a layer
I
of
don't like
chewy
that
fudge.
as
Oh,
much.
it's good,
It's
but
good?
it-
You know what I
yeah.
like? The Dairy Queen when they swirl it up. I had it one time when we went camping with Mihal and G. They put it like a swirl and they mix up the ice cream and it's like a Wendy's, like that soft ice cream with like crap in it. It's good.
I love the crap. I love the
it's good.
crap
You can
part in
put
my
all
ice cream.
sorts in there.
No, but there was one I was almost going to buy it in the supermarket from Friendly's, I believe, and they call it
Friendly.
Dirt Road.
Oh yeah.
And it's basically the same because it's got that gravel pit.
Yes, people love that.
Yeah, and it's this, they're trying to mimic
Yeah.
the Carvel crunchy,
Yeah.
chocolatey, fudgy things,
Yes.
crispy
Mhm.
things, which is what makes it.
Yeah.
Which is what that's what makes it. Well, and you know what? For $3.50, I'll eat the Friendlies instead of
no,
the
but I think
Carvel.
the cake itself, it has like a whole, like I think the cookie puss is the best. The Fudgy the Whale has too much fudgy coating. It's too
But it's the same mold.
no, but it's like if they slather it with like chocolate fudge on top, it's like too much.
Oh, because it's too
It's
fudgy.
excessive, yeah, fudgy.
What was the other? Who was the alien? There was a
don't
space
know.
alien.
There was a space alien. There was a.
There's Cookie. Oh, Cookie Opus is
Yeah.
coming up for.
All they did was take the same mold and say, "What else can we make
Yeah,
with it?"
yeah. So they
And
couldn't
then
make
the
a
father,
manatee.
When I asked for the cookie opus for the thing, the poor guy, he's like, the little kid, he was a high schooler. He said, "I'm sorry, ma'am, but some of these names are a bit old." Because Cookie Opus now, the kid saying Cookie Puss to me felt guilty.
Oh, because
He
he's
couldn't
got the
say
word
Cookie
puss
Puss,
in there.
yeah.
Yeah.
I was like,
I know. Well, yeah. It's not Cookie Pussy. It's
but
Cookie
it was
Puss.
awkward for him.
Because
I'm
back in the
saying
day,
it
Puss was
awkward.
face.
Yes, but
When Tom
I'm sure
Carvel
that
was
when
growing up.
Carvel made it, maybe it was a nickname for one of his kids, like Cookie Puss.
Yeah.
You eat too many cookies, you're a Cookie Puss, right?
Oh, and yeah. Okay.
But now,
I know.
yeah,
I know.
yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of. I better not say them on the air, but
no,
yeah,
there
no.
could be a lot. No, yeah.
Yeah, no, especially not in the Me
And
Too
he's
era.
not even a cookie puss. All he has is cookie eyes. I mean, he's really cookie eyes.
No. Well, or he's got
He's got an ice
nose.
cream cone nose,
right.
and he's got cookie eyes.
So he's got the whole face. He doesn't have a mouth.
yeah,
Does he have a
but-
mouth?
Yes, they put a little smile.
So there you go.
But it's not like the cookies are the face. It's not like he's a big cookie face. He's cookie eyes.
Yeah, that's what makes him
even the
Cookie
name is
Puss.
wrong.
What's wrong?
This is puss. These
Yeah,
are
right.
eyes.
No, but no, he's got an ice cream nose, and they make a mouth. So that's a whole face. It's a
Remember
puss.
when Roman made you the Rabbi Cookie Pussowitz? He thought you were a rabbi when I.
This was for my birthday. I think
Yes.
my 50th birthday.
Yes.
The local Carvel guy was. Hopefully he's retired, not
This
dead.
wasn't 50. This was years ago when we were there. You weren't 50.
You're right. I was probably
Yeah, it was
45 or
45.
something
And I got him to make a little yarmulke on
on the cake.
the top of the Cookie Puss's head, and then he put some like Star of David. We had all kind of like, and then and he did payas, and
Right.
then
We call him Cookie Pussowitz.
and then he
Yes.
said to me when I picked it up, he goes, "Is your husband a rabbi?" And I thought,
What do you tell him?
Cookie Puss.
And meanwhile, we all suspected this guy was an ex-Nazi who just made it into
But
America
you know
somehow.
The joke.
What?
I'm
No.
sure he made many of them after that. I'm sure that started the Rabbi Puss.
Well, considering the way Cedarhurst and Whitmer have turned from, as we call it, I'm saying somebody got that idea. Well, is Carvel kosher par?
Yes, this
Or
one's
not par?
kosher. Yes,
Because,
yes,
oh,
kosher,
there you
yes.
go. So I'm
I
sure
think I
people
don't
came
have
in there
the-
saying, "Look, can you put a
I
yarmulke
want to
on
look up
it?
the name of the alien because that's fine.
If it's a girl, if it is the cookie, can you put a wig on her?"
You can't put a wig. There's not enough space.
That's true. Well, maybe what could you make a wig out of?
Names of old-fashioned Carvel cakes.
Like an edible wig. Noodles, perhaps.
No, you just do the schmear. Oh, look at that.
What? Oh, show. Oh, what the
That's
hell is
not
that?
good.
There, that's Cookie Puss. We're going to show you an example in a moment.
What is a fudge?
Oh, wait. Pam says,
Oh, Hug Me Bear. I don't remember Hug Me Bear.
Hug Me Bear is Hug Me the Bear. I forgot about Hug Me Bear. Yes. And I do enjoy hugging you when you're bare, babe.
Oh.
If you know what I'm saying. And I think
but
you do.
I don't see the...
Show me Hug Me
I'm going to
Bear.
Carvel, but they don't have that. I'm going to Carvel.com.
And also do the outer space one.
I don't see the alien. That's weird.
Unless Cookie Puss was supposed to be sort of the alien.
Birthday sprinkle, Fudgy
There's
the
Fudgy.
Whale, picture cake.
Butterfly cake. What the hell is that? They got new molds now.
Ice cream cone.
Oh, they're
Race
doing all...
car cake.
Oh, come on. This is not Carvel.
Birthday sprinkle bunny cake.
But this is making me angry. Look, I'm going to show this on the TV now. On the... What the hell is... Wait, what was that? Was that the bunny?
Christmas tree cake.
See, all those years people complained, why do they have the same 3 cakes at Carvel? Now,
Oh, they do. You
they're
want birthday,
messing with it. They're
holiday,
making
custom.
a bunny cake and a
You
sports
could
car.
do birthday, holiday, custom, sports, or cake FAQs.
See that funeral? Let's do a Carvel funeral. No, look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Birthday sprinkle.
That's
Okay,
normal, that's
typical normal Carvel cake,
normal.
like from back in the day. There's fudgy. You're right. That does have a lot of fudge
I
on
don't
it.
like it. It's too much.
Yeah.
You're probably
That-
going to sugar coma.
That is packed with fudge,
Yes,
if you
it's
know what I'm
fudge
saying. It is fudge packed. And here, take a look.
No.
Here's a perfect picture cake, so they can do that
Yes,
now.
Yeah.
And all right, fine. What is this? When did Carvel ever do stuff like this? This is not really Carvel. It's a different mold. I'm sorry, I don't like this.
See the butterfly.
See, it's a cone cake.
Yeah, I don't know. And then there's like a Christmas
The hell?
tree. What?
Now this is the race car.
Did you see the Christmas tree?
Oh God, how would our local kosher Carvel be making
They
a
won't
Christmas
make that. They
I'm
would make
damn
it
right.
for it.
bunny cake? They might as well make a crucifix cake, which is a real easy one. That's an easy mold.
Keep going.
What the hell? Bunny Siamese twin
No,
bunny
I
cakes.
just didn't get a girl or boy. They're showing you.
Oh, is that how?
Yeah.
I'm wondering if
I
they're
know. When I first saw it, I thought they were
genetically modified,
No,
like chromosome
no,
cakes or
yeah,
something.
No,
I don't
they're
know.
boy or girl.
Look at this. Look at this. This
Let
is
me
the brown bunny cake, if you know what
Let
I'm
me see.
saying.
Oh, he looks cute.
He is cute, but Carvel should not leave this shit to Dairy Queen. I'm sorry. Chocolate decadence heart cake.
Oh, come on, I would love that for you. Keep going.
If Tom Carvel were alive, he would be spinning
You
in his
can keep-
grave.
If you keep scrolling, there's more than
Christmas tree,
that. Yeah.
cupcake, colossal
That's
cupcake.
too confusing.
It's disgusting. It's yellow.
But that's too confusing.
It's a piss cake. I'm
You
sorry.
could probably change.
Here's Cookie
Let me
Opus.
see, let me
Now
see.
here's
Let
the
me-
classic.
oh,
There we
let me see. Here's
There.
one of them.
There's Cookie Puss.
Keep going.
That's
Makes you
what
see
we
below.
love. Look at that. And then the classic Cookie Puss.
Ours doesn't look like that. That looks horrific.
It doesn't look horrific.
Ours
It's got
looks
the
so much
eyes.
Better.
Ours, ours was
keep
great,
going
but
up.
but see, it's a face. The whole thing is a face.
Let me go up more.
All right, here's Cookie.
Oh.
Oh, we lost it. Let's scroll down. It's like a slot. What the hell? It's gotten so goyish. Look at this Easter egg cake.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, this is hard to watch. I'm trying to hold this steady here.
Let me see.
Dream big cake. Oh, it's like for graduations, I'm sure.
Oh.
Crazy silly.
Oh, maybe they have a poop emoji. I think they.
That's what I want from
Yeah,
next for
let's
a
see if
poop
they have
emoji
it. Let's
cake.
see
I'll
if
bet they
have
make it. Because all they have to do is like mush Fudgy the whale
that
together.
Looks good. Carvel log cake.
Now, there you go.
That's an old one too. I remember that.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't remember that. No. So we got.
Okay.
All right, do a couple more of these.
Go,
Father's Day whale cake.
It's
It's a
Fudgy the
fucking
Whale.
Fudgy the whale
Just
cake.
Do the next arrow. Oops.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry. No, the arrow.
Oh, there's more. But wait, there's more.
Here, see the arrow on the bottom right there? That.
Here,
okay,
here.
go up.
Look. Now we're
Festival of
talking.
Lights cake. There you go.
There you go.
What else?
Now we're talking.
Feel.
Football field sheet cake.
Aww.
I'm doing a commercial for these people now. Frosted flowers. What the hell? Too girly.
Oh, look at that. That's fancy, David. No, the one below it you could do.
Oh, well.
No, go. Now you gotta go back.
Designer.
Yeah.
Oh, here we
Yeah,
go.
Fix it.
Ladies and gentlemen, the excitement of looking at Carvel cakes. Does life get better than that in New York? I don't think so. Anyway, I'm Dave, and that's my wife, Joyce, and we're doing the Dave's Gone By Facebookio Podcastio program of the stream. It is 9:35 in the morning, Mountain Time. Oh, no, sorry, Eastern Time. Gotta get used to saying that. We're here on Long Island doing the 687th episode of the show. We're calling it Tailor Made because Renee Taylor from The Nanny and Made for Each Other, and she's got a bunch of other things. Those are the two things that I'm mostly
David?
mentioning. Oh, you found another?
This is the one I'm gonna get you.
Oh, did I have the?
No, look at the bottom of the bottom.
Yeah, the man cake.
Yes.
I would probably shape it a little differently if it were a the man cake.
I'm gonna.
Yeah. Wow.
Can you do some intro stuff without me?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I can remind people that we couldn't or wouldn't do this show without the fine folks at Hewlett Minuteman Press, the copy kings of Broadway in Hewlett, Long Island. They've been around this franchise of Minuteman since the mid-1970s, owned and operated by the Torong family, with those fine people, Michael and David, the son, and Carlene, the mom. And of course, I work with Aldina and Yvonne to, for the stuff that I need copied, especially now that I'm here back in New York. But I've been using them even when I was 2,000 miles away in Colorado. Minuteman Press, they're at 1315 Broadway in Hewlett, just across the street from the big old Petco. They're in that little strip mall-ish area there. There's a bagel place on the corner. They've also got a chocolates place. So if you're there and you need something copied, whether it's black and white single-sided or sort of laminate feeling nice paper colored double-sided copies, or if you need your logo or insignia on some kind of clothing item or a pen and pencil set or a balloon or a flyer, Hewlett Minuteman Press can do that for you. Plus, they're known for their holiday cards. Passover, not that far away now, and Easter too. So go to Hewlett Minuteman, and they're known as well for their wedding invitations. And if you tell them Dave sent you, you get 10% off any job, big or small. So give them a call, 516-569-5577, area code 516-569-5577. Our guest on the program in a little while, talking to Rabbi Saul, will be the actress Renee Taylor. So let's do R for Renee. These are just some of the things that Hewlett Minuteman can do for you. Here's their letter R. They do raffle tickets, raised letter printing, reception cards, and a whole bunch of recycled things like announcements and business cards and envelopes and labels. So like, let's say you want to send a business card that's recycled. You can take someone else's business card and recycle it, and you don't have to leave your own phone number. That was supposed to be funny. It didn't work. Okay, reports and report covers, response cards, resume service, so they'll help you with your resume, printing it, designing it, ribbons, Rolodex and Rotary cards, rubber stamps as well. 516-569-5577. They are the copy kings, Hewlett Minuteman Press. Well, we are up to the minute here on the Dave's Gone By Facebookio program of the stream with me, Dave Lefkowitz. Also coming up, I didn't even tell you all the other stuff we're going to do on this episode of the show because we got so distracted by talking about Carvel cakes. But my goodness, we also will have Greeley Crimes and Old Times. We'll go inside Broadway. I'll be reviewing a couple of shows I saw in New York and also bidding farewell to a couple of people in the theater community. What else? We will have story time. Oh boy. Oh, very exciting story for you. So, Potato, you'll join us for that and bring all the kids around the computer for story time a little bit later on. That's where we read a book, and it's a segment that I love because I don't have to do any actual work. I'm just commenting on somebody else's copy. Nothing better than that. And our Colorado Limerick of the Damned, where we go to Fort Morgan. We'll have a short poem about Fort Morgan, Colorado. All of that and more on Dave's Gone By. So what else do I want to talk about on Dave's Gone? Well, I mean, I'm settling into New York again, even though we're here temporarily. But I'm getting that New York vibe and that New York grimness, especially this time of year. We've been here about 6 weeks now in Long Island, on Long Island, and in New York. And I'm sort of used to the weather again, because in Colorado, you get used to a lot of sunshine, even in the middle of winter. In the deepest, darkest heart of January and February, you can get up and certain days it'll be 70 degrees in the middle of the day with the sun just beating down on you. Now, it might go down to 20 by late evening, but you get in the middle of the day and it's like all the snow melts and everything's fine. And here in New York, like every day, it's either freezing or we got 2 inches of snow this morning. It's out there. We're going to have to shovel later. It's like, oh. And there's no real relief. I think in the weeks that we've been living here, we had 3 days that were in the high 40s, maybe low 50s. Basically nice winter, almost spring-like days. And every other day has just been, and it takes its toll. I just feel grim. I don't want to go anywhere. I don't want to schlep into Manhattan and deal with the people and deal with the yucky streets and deal with the cold. Because, especially if I'm going to see theater, I see it at night. And what happens dealing with the Long Island Railroad, which A, has voted to raise its fares, and B, had a crash this week. One of the safest transportation things in America, and yet some idiots were driving, and apparently the story was that they got into a minor fender bender, and rather than deal with it, they decided to speed away. And while they were sort of amped up on adrenaline, and I don't know if they were drunk or what, I think the guy who was driving was so badly mangled in the accident that there's not even blood to get DNA from or to test for what was in there. I don't know. But they speed away and then try and beat a train as the guardrails were down. They did not beat the train. In fact, the train came and hit them at a fairly slow speed, pushed the car onto a separate track, and then another train came and whacked them coming forward at full speed. And the unfortunate thing is that the folks on the train, some people were injured there. One of the conductors was in a car where like a big piece of wood because what happened was the train kept going. I don't know why it didn't sort of come to an immediate stop once they hit this car, but it went about a half a mile, almost at full speed, jumped off the track and hit an embankment of some kind. So it jolted. There were sparks. People were screaming. Shit came through the windows. That was a Long Island Railroad this week, which amazingly didn't wreck service as much as people thought it would. You figure when there's a crash like that with fatalities and a train jumping off the track, it's going to kill service for days. But handed to the LIRR, they got themselves running to their usual modicum of competence and efficiency within a few hours. But I'm just railing against the Long Island Railroad again.
Oh, what happened?
Well, no, they had the crash this week.
Yeah, that was not good.
And it's just like, how do you fix something that without starting from scratch? It's sort of like the L train.
I think what you do is you just use the other side of the tracks, right? They just use the other side, make it a one side only. I know, but to really fix the LIRR, which was just voting in a price increase. Oh, really?
You've got to start from scratch. That's why other cities, which developed 30 years ago instead of 100, they can build double-decker trains. They can build new tracks. They can
trains to Montauk.
Now, I don't understand that. We don't need double-decker trains to Montauk. We need them between Jamaica and Pennsylvania Station.
They can't fit in those tunnels.
Yeah. Instead of 12 or 14 cars, some of these rush hour trains need 16 or 18 cars, or have them come every 10 minutes, almost like a subway, instead of every 40 minutes or an hour. But we can't do that. We don't have enough tracks. We don't have the wherewithal for the infrastructure to make that happen. And again, it's the sort of thing, because you can't close down everything for months at a time, you can never truly change it. Like, it's the difference between remodeling a house or just knocking it down and building a house exactly the way you want. If they could do that with the subways, if they could knock the subways down for 2 years, Yeah,
but they have things like, they have structural engineers who could give advice on how to fix it. I mean, it's not like, I don't think you have to tear something down. I think there must be, the people get paid to do that. There's a whole
I don't know.
They're called structural engineers, David. That's what they do.
And what the structural engineers is kind of do a fix it here and a patch up there and say, working with what we got,
I put that.
And meanwhile, obviously, they don't have the money to do anything. They're in debt.
Can we do Greeley crimes in all time?
Yeah, no. I was trying to find funny stuff to say about the LIRR, but I don't have anything. So we might as well jump to our next segment. I apologize for that. And by the way, welcome to Michael and to Wayne and to Daniel, our friend of the Daverhood. Oh, let's show. It'll make me happy. And bring in Brown Bear. Because Brown Bear will appreciate Hug Me. So here's one more Carvel cake.
He's got his check now.
He's scary. He looks like a mouse with bear ears.
Let me
I don't
see.
like him.
Let me see.
And then there's this other thing I found in the street last week, this brown bear.
Oh, no, he doesn't look good. That's not a good.
No, that's not an attractive bear. This is a cuter bear with the smile that my wife designed for him. So.
Nutty the Ghost?
Really? Wow! Do you remember him from
No,
childhood?
I don't.
I've never seen this. Look
Nutty
at
the
this.
Ghost.
Look at this. This is the nutty.
Do they remember that? Ask if anybody remembers Nutty.
No, wait. Let's hold him up for a minute. This is from Carvel. Nutty the Ghost Cake. That seems like something that Tom Carvel would have thought out.
Yummy because
Yeah.
it looks like the screen. Oreo cake.
Oreo. That's all right. That's like a big.
Peanut butter Oreo.
Ooh. These are just using traditional molds.
I read Santa cake, which is Fudgy the Whale upside down.
See, there you're taking the mold and doing, but holy crap!
The snowman. Remember the snowman?
That ghost cake was really messed up. And that felt like a Tom Carvel item.
It did.
Like the old man.
Tom the
was
Turkey. That's Tom Carvel.
Do you remember him? No,
Yes, I do.
Oh, okay.
Tom the Turkey.
Tom the Turkey. Yeah, he's a bird. We put him on the cake. He's got
like
less air.
It's called Tom for Tom Carvel, I think.
Into each
The
cake.
sad part is some of these are trademarked. Like, really?
Yeah. Into each cake, I add a little bit of throat cancer.
Wow.
That was the beautiful Tom
Awesome.
Carvel, ladies and gentlemen. And welcome, some people just tuning in now. Daniel, I said Eileen, and Drew. Welcome to Drew, and so many people who are watching
Does
the Dave's
Carvel
Gone.
make wedding cakes?
Well, I'm sure they say
It
yes.
says, where can I purchase your famous Fudgy the Whale, Hug Me the Bear, or Cookie Puss cakes?
Can you imagine a wedding cake of different tiers? And one tier would be a Fudgy the Whale cake, one would be the ghost cake, another would be like Cookie O Puss. And so each layer would be a different Carvel item.
Can you make cakes?
I would get married again
Would
to have a
you?
cake like
Wow.
that. Oh, heck yeah. Oh,
Okay.
heck yeah, I would.
Let's do it.
Anyway, are you ready for one of the segments that we do on the show? It's called Greeley Crimes and Old Times. It is taken from, and really stolen from, our local newspaper back home called the Greeley Tribune. There's the masthead, or the head, what do they call this? Not the masthead.
Headline.
The banner of it, yeah. And what they do each week is there's one story where they compile phone calls that come into the police department dispatch from people who need help, but they really need help most of the time.
Somebody help,
Not just anybody.
I don't want Supervisor Smith help.
And
Those days when we used to not ask for people is gone. Remember they said, like,
right.
I'll talk to anybody except so-and-so.
Yeah, no, now it's just more like weird things happen. We got a ton of them. And we also have Greeley 100 Years Ago, which is another column in the paper put together by Mike Peters, where he goes through the papers from 1919 and looks for the weirdest, strangest, dumbest items and most cute and nostalgic items from 100 years ago. We lump these things together in a segment that we call Greeley Crimes and Old Times. Oh, yeah. Ooh-la-da-da-doo. Friggly-o-ten-dee-dwee. Squiggly-o-ten-dee-dwee. Yes, Greeley Crimes and Old Times we do.
That was really, you really were riffing on that.
I was
Wow,
indeed.
Wow, you were into it.
That was a Shuby-esque kind of a riff
Maybe
right
they could
there.
make a Shuby Taylor cake.
I would love
Or a
that.
moray. Maybe that's a moray cake.
Actually, any cake in the shape of a human horn.
They didn't have any horn-shaped cake.
They could. It would be pretty easy to make a horn shape because the mold
Yeah.
looks like an
horn
oboe
of
or like a
plenty.
French
Yeah, like a
horn.
horn of plenty.
Yeah. And we have a cornucopia of items, ladies and gentlemen, as part of Greeley Crimes and Old Times on today's show. It is, by the way, we're here live Saturday, March 2nd, 2019
9:50.
with Dave's Gone By and Greeley Crimes. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Oh, we have our noisemakers right here. They're ready for you.
Okay.
Oh, boy.
I'm using this one because I got to learn how to use it.
Okay.
Okay.
Police responded to 10th Street
Uh-oh.
for a man
Yeah.
running back and forth across the street, screaming for help. The man refused to stop running when approached by concerned passersby.
Okay.
Police later learned the man thought he had been injected with something.
Oh.
Because you can outrun the poison going
I
through your
hear it.
system. Yeah,
Might have watched too many of my Father Browns.
that's right. Yeah. Phenobarbital running through his system there. Okay. We're just getting started here with some of the true stories, true phone calls that came into our local police. Police.
Listen.
Ah. Oh, they're responding to a call about a hotel
Uh-oh.
on 29th Street for an intoxicated man interrupting people's conversations to give them hugs.
Hey, I know you're talking about the destruction of your marriage, but let me give you a little hug.
Hotel staff decided they would not trespass the hugger. I never heard that verb used that way.
No.
No, they would not trespass the hugger so long as he returned to his room and stayed there until he sobered up. So, if you see the hugging man in Greeley.
Wow, maybe he saw Huggy the Bear. What was Hug Me Bear?
There you go.
Maybe he needed a Hug Me Bear.
Oh,
He was
so
sad.
I told the story on the air many years ago,
Oh.
where I was walking down the street, and this young teenage
wait.
kid. What? Oh,
Look at the name on here.
whoa! I didn't realize that. Look at that. Look at that. This was made. This ball that I found in the street, and I didn't clean the schmutz off of, and I found it just 2 days ago in the street. Is made by a company called Jaru. Well, just about a month or two ago, my wife bought me this little toy xylophone for a noisemaker.
Yeah.
She bought it at the local store. Guess who makes it? Jaru! Jaru is taking over the world, ladies and gentlemen. What are the odds? And what are the odds that this company that makes musical instruments also makes sporting equipment?
Yes.
It's kind of like with
amazing.
What's the famous? Would Steinway start making highline nets? I guess they could, because how many people are buying pianos at this point? But anyway, where are we? Oh! I was talking about the kid, the child who wanted me to hug him. I told this story on there. I was walking down the street like 25 years ago or something like that.
You were little.
Well, I wasn't little. That was a weird thing. I was like a 30-something-year-old man,
Yeah.
and this kid comes up to me, and he's probably like a young teenager, and he's like, "Can you give me a hug?"
Where's his family?
I don't know. There was no family, no nothing around. He was young. He was old enough to be
Was
walking.
he a prostituto?
I think it was just a Christian or something like that.
Oh, not a prostituto.
And I gave the kid a hug.
Wow.
I didn't do anything else, ladies and gentlemen. I didn't want to do anything else. But I figured, what the hell? What's it going to cost me if I give this little boy? And that was the thing. It wasn't like a 5-year-old.
Yeah.
We're talking about like a 14-year-old who wanted a hug.
Maybe it was high.
No, it was a very clean-cut, normal-looking kid.
Okay.
So I figured him and sent him on his way. No, I kid. Ah. Anywho, that's the weird part of radio. When I first told that story 10, 14 years ago, it was like a 15-minute story. I did 15 minutes of radio out of it. Now that I talk about it, remember, I was able to tell it in a minute.
Well, you're subsynopsizing.
Well, also, radio kind of conflates and expands time as you need it.
Okay.
Ever notice that?
But you're on the web, a video.
And this is true. It's not even real radio anymore. Sigh. Anywho, Greeley Crimes and Old Times is what we're doing here in the Daverhood. Let's do an old-timey thing, shall we? We shall.
Yeah, let's do it.
Where's my old-timey sheet? I should have 6 pages. Here we go. Here we go. Forgive me, folks.
Yeah.
A German college professor
Oh.
told the world that Germany should not be kept in subjection by the armies that won the Great War. He said that if that happens, Germany, go figure, would soon rise again and involve the world in another war.
Uh-oh.
Wow. Those radical college professors and their ideas
That's right.
back in
I know.
1919.
We're still doing it. Still
Well,
living the dream.
Yeah. Well, or in the Tom LIRR lyric, once all the Germans were warlike and mean, but not, oh crap, I've forgotten the lyric. Once all the Germans were warlike and mean, but something, well, anyway, it ends with it, but that'll never happen again. We taught them a lesson in 1918, but that'll never happen. Anyway, I blew it. Anyway,
I don't
sorry.
know that fancy talking.
Hey, let me tell you about Carl Orthman.
Oh, not again.
Carl Orthman was taken to court and fined $5 for blocking the street. He was convicted of driving in front of another auto machine.
Oh, no.
And then
Yeah.
driving side to side, back and forth, to keep the car from passing. How do you drive side to side? Did you have one of these cool cars that goes...
Yeah, a spaceship car.
Yeah, right? And lifted over the other car and blocked it in sort of a back and forth kind of a way?
I don't get it. That's weird.
Nor do I. Oh, but here's what we have right now. We have an alert. No, it's not one of those kinds of alerts. This is an awe alert.
Aww.
This is where we and you at home are going to hear something so adorable and cute that you're going to want to go, aw. Let's practice, shall we? I'll practice with Brown Bear. Aw. Okay, get ready. This is our awe alert.
Aww.
Mr. and Mrs. J.R. Powell celebrated their 53rd wedding anniversary on Valentine's Day.
Aww.
Wait for it. Mr. Powell said it was the first Valentine's Day he didn't get his wife a Valentine.
Uh-oh.
He said he couldn't find anything good enough for her.
Oh, that's BS. That's such BS.
No, that's an awe
That's
thing.
BS. That's like, oops, I forgot, and now I'm going to say that.
Really? You think
That's bull.
I'm going to try that on our 25th anniversary. I was like, honey, I was going to buy you like a ring. I was going to buy you like a trip to somewhere. But nothing is good enough for you.
Look where nothing compares to you got to Sinead O'Connor.
There you go. It turned her into Al-Qaeda is what it did.
Yeah.
Anywho, I like that. I like that awe alert.
like
Only you would be cynical.
I don't like it. I think it's a BS story. He's lying. He forgot and then just was kind of making a story.
Maybe. I wonder. Anyway, police
I'm
responded.
sure she would have liked a nice dinner. Wouldn't have killed him to get her out for dinner.
Well, but that's not a gift. You probably did take her to dinner.
Get a flower.
What could you get her in 1919? Take her out for a bowl of lard.
Flowers.
All right. Okay, flowers maybe.
Flowers and maybe to the charlatan guy who could give her some tonic.
Oh,
Yes,
that's right. Yeah.
there you go.
Some special Dr. Hook's medicine.
Yes.
Yeah. Hey, police responded to Center Place Shopping Mall. We know that place.
Okay, hold on.
For a suspicious maroon Chevy Tahoe.
How is a car suspicious?
And this is from 100 years ago, so it really is suspicious. No, this is new.
Suspicious as a car.
Well, it had tinted windows and expired dealer plates out of Arkansas. The caller admitted there was nothing suspicious about the vehicle other than the expired tags and that the caller was, quote, probably watching too much Dateline.
Oh, good to see. I'll tell you, a lot of people in Colorado have tinted windows. You know why?
Why?
Because it's so sunny. You can't take the sun. They get tinted windows from sun.
I think it's not actual tint. It's the smoke from the vape pens and the marijuana cigarettes that tints up the car windows. In our car, it's just my farts. I was like, do you drive a brown car? No, our car is silver. No, it's brown inside. No, I'm kidding. I don't even know what that means, ladies and gentlemen. A resident called dispatch.
Wait a second.
Well, this is kind of cute. A resident called dispatch to find out the consequences of filming people having sex.
Oh, David. Was it R. Kelly?
Well, actually, no. The police told them the consequences of filming police having sex are they get really famous and marry Kanye West. So,
wow.
Yeah.
No, but R. Kelly, when he had sex with the underage people, he got convicted.
Well, if they filmed it, with moron.
The tapes.
Yeah. I mean, a guy, if she was even 17, I don't know what the state laws are.
You mean like other people or yourself?
It wasn't clear of whether he wanted to put a camera on his bed. Potato. What are the consequences of filming other potatoes having sex? Well, my tumor grows. Oh, potato, that's just disgusting.
Potato.
It's like a French fry in your pocket. Are you happy to see me? Ah! Don't even know. Oh, yeah. Hey, you know what a potato's favorite TV show is?
What?
MASH!
Oh, God.
Yeah, okay. Anyway, you know what? It's 10 o'clock in the morning, Eastern Time, here in Long Island, New York. We're doing the Dave's Gone By Facebookio Podcastio program of the stream with me, Dave Lefkowitz, my darling and adorable wife, Joyce. Brown Bear is with us. Potato is with us. Rabbi Saul Solomon will be with us shortly
Renee
to talk to
Taylor.
the great Renee Taylor of The Nanny fame and Lovers and
That's
Other
how she
Strangers.
became the nanny.
And remember, you can see her live in Bellport in just a week and a half
That's
doing
awesome.
her show, My Life on a Diet. It got wonderful reviews when she did it on, off Broadway last year. Now she's bringing it to Long Island for a weekend. Go see her, Renee Taylor, and listen to her right here. In just probably a half hour or so, she'll be on this program
That's
with
super
Rabbi
cool.
Saul Solomon. It's totally cool.
What an interesting person, right?
Oh, yeah, well, I mean, come on. She was married to Joe Bologna, I think, for more than 50 years
Wow.
at this point.
Does she have children?
I believe she does. Yeah, yes. As a matter of fact, I think she writes now, and her son is a director. I mean, I don't know off the top of my head,
Oh, okay.
but I'm guessing, and she'll tell us all about it when she's on this program just a little while from now. So stick with us, because we also have Inside Broadway, and we have our Colorado Limerick of the Damned, and we will have a special story time. All of that ahead on Dave's Gone By. And this head on Dave's Gone By is getting into Greeley crimes and old times. Shall we do something from elsewhere?
Okay. Yeah.
So this is the
I'm
elsewhere
ready. Wait,
portion.
elsewhere. I gotta do something quick.
Oh, this is a great question. Pamela, our number one fan, Pam, asks, who was going away? No, she's stuck around for the full hour so far. So thank you, Pam. See all the good things you
I
get
think
by
she-
staying with the
she
show?
might like to see the Carvel cake.
Or I don't think she wants that ghost cake. That freaked me out. I'm scared now. But I'm looking for the information on how to see Renee Taylor.
Oh, what?
What you want to do is go to the website where it's the Gateway Theater in Bellport. So go to it's probably gateway.com or gatewaytheater.com. Easy enough to find. It's on March 15th and 16th. And it's called My Life on a Diet. That's the name of her show, My Life on a Diet. The joke of it is that she's been on a diet for 50 years, and the whole time she's lost about 5 pounds, ultimately.
That's
You know,
funny. That's funny.
because she's been on every possible yo-yo combination
Yeah,
diet
sure.
thing. And she's a very funny lady, so it's probably a wonderful show.
On the nanny too, she seems it.
Oh, and Pam is saying this is such a great episode. Oh, yay. Well, it's because I'm here and my darling wife is joining us. What about me?
Oh God.
What about me? All right, and Potato is with us as well as co-host. It gives us a family feeling of having all these different items with us.
Our dog is completely asleep.
Yeah, our dog is also asleep in the background. He'll probably be joining us later as well.
When
Shall we
he
do a
wakes
little
up.
bit more Greeley crimes? Because I want to go elsewhere.
Yeah, so you said elsewhere, but I don't know where elsewhere is.
Elsewhere includes
What are you doing?
Well, first of all, we have New York. We go to New York.
We're in New York.
Yeah. So this is this is no longer an elsewhere for us in Colorado.
No.
Well, but it's not in Greeley. This is New York,
yeah, so-
Manhattan.
Okay.
And actually,
Yeah.
all over the country.
Uh-huh.
Now, you and I love art. We love the theater. We love the fine arts. We love painting. We love sculpture. So this is a story about art.
Ooh.
Here's the headline. And this is a headline from the New York Times art section
Okay, yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready.
from a week ago.
Yeah.
Galleries face suits over blind web access.
What?
I will read this. On December 13th,
Mm-hmm.
a blind Manhattan resident named Henry Tucker filed federal lawsuits against 10 art galleries, saying that their websites were not accessible to people who could not see.
Mm-hmm.
So he and his team of Jewish lawyers filed suit against the Albert Baumgold Gallery, the Albert Benda Gallery, Aquavella. They started with the A's. Then they went on to the B's.
Is that true, like how they did it?
Yeah.
Okay.
And there was another team of lawyers working on the L's through the Z's
Oh my God.
to sue every art gallery, most of them in New York, for having websites that were not accessible to the blind. Depending, and this is, I'm still quoting here the New York Times, depending on one's perspective, the suits are either salvos for civil rights or a way for lawyers to scrape the internet for a quick paycheck. Most lawsuits are quickly settled, with the plaintiffs earning a few $100s and the lawyers pocketing thousands in legal fees. One art gallery owner called the whole thing blackmail.
Whoa.
But I mean, let's talk about this for a moment. Do blind people really have the
Yes.
the right, quote unquote,
Yes.
to access a
Americans,
website.
Yes, Americans with Disabilities Act. So if you even go in my new version of Word, it says read aloud. My version of Word will read aloud. So with the Americans with Disabilities Act, you have to have equal access.
No,
So,
but I can understand if it was internet radio, and there was a way that blind people couldn't figure out how to play audio.
You would say, like, the picture behind you, it's a triptych. So it's stained glass, the visuals of 3 stained glass images. One is yellow, one is blue, one is
Do you know how many
red.
tens of thousands of dollars art galleries would have to do?
You know how many tens of thousands
They make?
They make money over a paper and pencil drawing.
But imagine if these lawyers start suing every website, which should be available for the blind.
Yeah, sue the world.
Well, that's ridiculous. It's insane. These people can't even go to an art gallery in the first place. They go, I guess they can listen to on the headsets, and then they can watch. But not every painting, every single painting, imagine if every gallery
you don't have to do everything. You just give some. You have to do some of it. You can't do none of it. You need to do some of it. Under law, there's probably a percentage you have to do.
See, if I were an art gallery owner, I was sued by blind people. I would be like, okay, you want here. This is in the Chicago Art Institute. Here's a Sunday in the Park something. It's got a lot of dots with colors on it. Move on.
But don't you think? I mean, why would you discriminate?
Because it's nuts.
No, it's not.
It's like suing.
No,
it's like
not.
someone with no
it's
sense
not.
of smell suing a bakery.
No, it's not. No, it's not. You've never worked with anyone with a disability.
If I were blind, I would not expect to see paintings.
Yeah, but what happens if you're a student and the professor says, go to that website and discuss the art? You have to do it. You don't understand that. Like, you have to do, you have to.
Well, what if you're a radio station, you have to cater to deaf people? Imagine deaf people suing iTunes.
NPR does,
how? Well, bumps come on the screen?
No, transliteration. You do for people who are hearing impaired, they do a transcript. I couldn't think of the word.
Yeah, but no, I'm half deaf in this year.
Yes,
you know that.
Yes,
eventually, genetically, I'm going to go deaf in this year.
Yeah.
It's going to happen,
Yeah.
right? So at some point, I will be very, very hard of hearing, no matter whether I'm wearing hearing aid or not.
Yeah.
And if I live long enough, if I live to my 80s, I'll probably be almost completely deaf, right? Fine.
Yeah.
I will not expect to put on the radio and hear it. I won't sue WINS for not being able to hear the news.
You should be able to get a closed caption feed
from a special company that does that.
Yeah.
It's not their fault that God struck me with an ailment.
I think that you don't understand the issue. You're seeing it from a very slim.
So I'm seeing it. At least I can see it.
You're from a narrow perspective.
No, I think there are things that, like handicap access to places.
Mm-hmm.
I do believe that places should be, but you shouldn't have to go upstairs.
It's under the law. There's an Americans with Disabilities Act that says you have to have certain access points for people with various issues.
Right. Oh, but the thing is, like in New York, there are theaters that are grandfathered in because they're still there, and they'd be impossible to get to by anybody who isn't physically able-bodied.
Yeah.
And it would be a shame that people who are not able-bodied couldn't get into them, but they can't, and they couldn't for 100 years.
But who told me? One of your cousins, the child had to leave the theater, and they didn't like something triggered something or whatever. They had a TV screen in the lobby. Do all theaters have that now?
But that's for latecomers.
But do all theaters have that?
Any theater that can afford it. A lot of the, especially the institutional theaters, they'll say, "Hey, we can't let you in during the first scene. You're going to miss the first 15 minutes. Traffic, you're late, whatever. Come, watch what's happening on the TV monitor. It's live. It's not pre-recorded, and then we'll let you in."
Well, I don't remember theaters having that when we were here, right?
A couple did.
They did.
Yeah, not every theater on Broadway, because they couldn't. In the lobbies in some of these theaters, there's no room
to
have
I was
people
thinking.
sit.
Like I think what it points to me is you have to be mindful.
Absolutely,
like you can't be an extremist in any capacity, but you have to understand that. If you serve people who are quote unquote perfect, that's very few people.
I mean, imagine you're a blind person and you want to watch porn on your computer. I mean, there's certain like, oh, I like these bumps.
You'd hear it. You'd hear the sound.
Okay, but you're not getting the visual.
And
you need a description.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you could guesstimate what that's what.
No, you need a narrator. You need someone. He's rubbing her nipples now.
The films have that. Like when you watch a film, you can get the narrated version.
True. Or you get the subtitle version, which is useless to
You
deaf
can
people.
get an audio
Or
book.
to,
though.
no,
Maybe there would be a program that could read the subtitles.
maybe.
That would be good, but
Yeah.
it'd be hard to form.
Yeah. But imagine if every pornographic website got, especially I love having a big.
I'm sure they do because they want as many people as they can.
But the real fetish ones, like she's taking the dog leash.
Oh, David. Remember we saw
and wrapping it around the cow's udder.
Remember we saw the one. It was one of my murder mysteries. Was it Father Brown or the Midsummer Murders where they dressed as ponies?
Oh yes.
Some little ponies. Remember that? Like they were, not like Fred and Wendy with My Little Pony.
But no, I got to start thinking of things to suit. That's the thing. There are certain things I'm not tall enough to do. Right when I go places.
Like what?
I don't know. I've got to think of places, but there are certain things that are not available to me, being 5'2".
Mm-hmm.
What else? Bald. Let's see. I should sue God for making the sun so strong in Colorado that I have to wear a hat, because if I get my hat, I get sunburn on the top of my head. I should sue God.
Lord.
I'm just saying.
Go for it.
I don't know. And this is a can of ridiculous worms to me.
You should go try it.
Meanwhile, and this is all lawyers filing the most briefs, and I'm wearing my briefs at the moment, and I'm soiling them as we speak.
It's a fancy day, huh?
And they've filed complaints against things that aren't art galleries, including Core Power Yoga, the Honey Baked Ham Company,
What?
and Cam Bow Wow Daycare for Dogs. Now, this is where I get pissed off, because you can say these art galleries make thousands and thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
Some doggy daycare,
Yeah.
they have to now spend however much money to make their website accessible for the blind, for their seeing eye dogs, essentially.
Did you see my soda?
I don't know where you would have put it.
Did I finish it?
Maybe finishing this tea on the. Did you finish your tea?
Yeah.
Anyway, I just get riled. Oh, I get riled up. Oh, I do. But to me, it's ridiculous. To me, it's lawyers doing a money grab, and it's all because they can sue any website. They can sue I'll give somebody ideas. I mean, you can listen to 1,000 things on my website, so it's tailored, for the blind. I don't know. Do I have to go back to all my shows and describe them for the deaf?
When you go on YouTube, can you close caption your shows? Does it close?
I used to do that on YouTube. It used to do it sort of automatically, and then I lost the ability to do it. I think they took that part away, because there were times when I would try and transcribe, and it took forever. It was an absolute.
No, but I wonder if YouTube does it intuitively. I don't know.
At one point, it was trying to, no.
I like you in that purple. You look handsome.
Why, thank you, dear. Why, thank you. By the way, let's do another elsewhere.
Ooh,
I'm all had up.
There weren't 3. There are 4 panels. You're blocking the 4th green panel.
Oh, 1, 2. Well, there's one behind me.
Yeah, and then the other one.
This way, okay.
Yeah, the green. No, it's okay. Don't do it because it's jerry-rigged. You don't
There
want
we go.
anything to fall.
Okay. I want to go elsewhere for one more item in Greeley Crimes of Old Times, because I just saw this yesterday, and I'm like, wow. And this makes me, the stuff we were talking about with the deaf or the blind people suing art, that makes me mad.
Yeah.
This fills me with joy.
What is it?
Do you remember, hon, the Ice Bucket Challenge?
Oh, yes, I do.
And viral videos of cats playing keyboards?
I do,
yes. Go get yourself your beverage.
No,
and then,
listen,
and then,
I enjoyed both of those.
Yeah. Well, to me, they were nothing. These challenges. There is now, honest to gosh, a new viral challenge.
What is it?
And you know it's viral because it's being reported in the New York Post and elsewhere.
What is it?
It started on Twitter. It's the Cheesed Challenge.
Oh, God, no. Nothing with cheese. No,
Yeah.
no. That's
A Twitter
disgusting.
user.
With Cheetos or cheese?
Cheese.
Cheese?
Uploaded a video of himself
Yeah.
approaching his brother, a toddler,
Yes.
while ominously holding a slice of American cheese.
Oh, it's not bad. I thought it was going to be that Velveeta you shoot out of the piece.
No, just a piece of cheese.
Okay.
The scared baby then braces himself as the brother flung the cheese into the baby's face.
That's the challenge?
And he tweeted, "Just cheesed my little brother." 8.3 million people have watched that, at least as of a couple of days ago. And that's when the copycatting began. And now
what's the point of
you
that?
take a piece of cheese
Yeah,
and
but
you
what's the
throw it
point?
in a child's face
What's the point of that?
because it's horrible and funny and harmless.
That's true.
Unless the
Unless
child's
you're
allergic.
lactose intolerant, yeah.
That'd be funny to do it with peanuts to kids who are allergic. Like, hey, but what?
You're a strange, Ed.
That's because I believe in cheeses.
Oh.
Hey, by the way, I also believe that my aunt Esther is watching. Hey, Auntie Essie.
Say hi to
Hey,
Esther.
Essie, you want to go to the theater tomorrow? Let me know. I've got a ticket to something. So if you want to come with me, come with me. And Paolo, my goodness, speaking of Broadway and the theater,
I love that name.
Paolo was in that marvelous revival. I hope I'm getting this right. Of South Pacific, or was it Most Happy Fella? I think it was South Pacific. But anyway, thank you, Paolo, for tuning in. And oh my goodness, my friend from high school, David, who's been going through some heavy medical stuff. I hope you're well. I hope you're
show him the orb. Show
recovering.
The orb. Give David the orb.
Oh, that's right. David, I have for you.
The magical orb.
Joyce drew for us.
Yes.
The magical healing orb.
Yes.
When you
show
wish.
him the magical part.
This is the orb,
Yes.
and this is the waves
the
of
magic,
healing
yes.
coming off it. That's
and
the
the
magic.
dirt's because you found it in the street.
Yeah. Well, you found the original in the street.
You found it. Using me, you found it.
Here you go. Nothing rhymes with orb. I just realized.
Orb.
Well, yeah, one thing.
Lorb.
Yeah.
Like Lorba.
When you wish upon an orb, all the healing you'll absorb.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah. When you wish upon the glow, your hopes will grow too.
I love that.
There you go. Isn't that nice?
Yes.
So, David, wish upon that orb, and we certainly wish you a full refuah shlema from the stuff you've been going through.
And potato, half potato.
And Potato wishes you well, too. He's sending tuberous healing to you through his hat.
Oh, to the hat. Wow.
Yeah. Wow, it's 10:15.
Oh, my God.
Do you want to do one more Greeley, or do I have to get on with it? One more Greeley climb an old time. We're such a backlog of these.
Usually we
amazing.
get to 10:30, then that's
Oh,
it. Okay,
okay.
so that's acceptable to you?
That was totally great.
Potato, what about him?
It's fine by me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Good, Potato, thank you.
Police.
Oh, I need my thing. Where's my little dinger? Okay.
Oh, I beg your pardon. Where's my little dinger? That's what I want. Police responded to 6th Avenue for a woman walking,
Yes.
lying, and then kneeling in the middle of the street
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
directing traffic that wasn't there.
Maybe she was the next, I'll tell you, out here, those school crossing guards do that. They're very helpful.
Oh, yeah.
They're all these ladies with all this, gear. They were in all this outfit. They cross us. And they think
do.
maybe she was just sleepwalking as a school crossing guard.
But I always feel uncomfortable when I see school crossing guards.
I love them.
You would,
I feel
but
like
I don't.
I should
No.
bring them a coffee or something
Yeah.
because they're freezing their
But
tushes up.
if I want to cross the gutter and I see a school crossing, I'm 55 years old, but I don't know. I'm like, there's no cars. I feel like I'm going to run it. But then, no, don't. That's what she said. She should cross you. But I don't want to wait for her.
No, but they also cross us and children, so it's a twofer.
Yeah. Well, when there are children around, I cross with the children. I wait.
Yeah.
But if it's just me, there's this woman. I don't know if she's really. Is she a cop? Does she have powers to arrest me for jaywalking?
Policing. I wouldn't. They probably have a gun because they could shoot you. I'm sure
They don't have a gun.
They must have a gun.
School crossing guards would not have guns.
I would have a gun.
I don't even think they have a taser.
I think they have a whistle and they have estrogen. They have to whistle and they have.
No, we've seen mail.
No, I've never had a mail.
When we were in Greeley, we have that guy. He crosses people when we come down to 47th Street or 35th.
Oh, yes. I think he's just crossing magical people, too.
Oh,
yes.
he
I
might
don't
be.
think he's really hired by anyone. I think he just...
That could very possibly be.
People sleepwalk and do things like that.
In the middle of... Oh,
Yes.
yeah, I guess.
I could see that happening, don't you think? It's very easy.
Maybe she's directing traffic towards track 7.5 towards Hogwarts.
Oh, don't say that, maybe. Maybe she's the wife of Voldemort.
She might be.
Mrs. Voldemort.
No, you've worked for Mrs. Voldemort at UNC, but I'm kidding. I kid. Anywho, let's move on.
Mrs. Voldemort.
Actually, she wouldn't be, unless... I'm not even going to go there.
Uncle.
Not going to go there. Okay. Police, speaking of schools...
Hold on, yes, I got my whole... Ooh, I dropped my finger. Okay.
They responded to a school for a report of a boy who had been pantsed by 2 classmates.
What does pants mean? You pull the pants
They pull the
down?
pants down, which in the Me Too era, oh God, that's probably a rape offense.
No, but it's not nice. I mean,
No, of course
that's
it's not nice. It's better than a wedgie,
I
though.
never was pants, but I wore a uniform. I had a Catholic
Oh.
school uniform. I never wore.
Well, do women
pants.
uniforms are skirts, right? Or
Yeah,
what is
they're
a,
skirts.
Yeah.
We wore skirts. They were awful plaid. Whoosh.
Well, we wore skirts too, but they were just blue and white. No, I'm kidding. In my Hebrew school,
Really?
No, of course I didn't wear a
Oh,
skirt.
okay. I was like, what?
But no, pants is when you pull pants down, which is at least is less painful and embarrassing than a wedgie.
Is that common? Is that something kids do?
I guess it is. Or these days, or for the past 20 years, thanks to the rappers, they wear their pants so out down their ass.
Say the story of the critic. Don't say the name.
Oh no, I won't. You tell. You love the story. You tell it. You tell it. Let me have a beverage.
You tell it.
No, it's just there was
a critic who lost weight.
A beloved critic that we know, because I'm in the American Theater Critics Association, and we were all away at one of our annual meetings, staying in a hotel, and we had the hospitality suite, where when we came back from the shows, everybody could have a drink and talk about the theater and talk about the show they just saw.
Nice.
It was social.
Yeah, social.
And
very social.
One of the critics who was in the room, he had lost weight. He was still wearing some of the same clothes he had been wearing 25 pounds ago.
Yes.
And as he's talking to my wife, his pants come down. Just they fell. They fell to his knees.
No, he was hugging me.
Oh, he's hugging you in his pants? Yeah.
He was hugging me.
Now, see, if he had been heterosexual, the pants would have stayed on. But since he's a gay man, the pants just went boom. Because, his penis just went in the opposite direction. It just inverted into him when he was hugging you. And he was terribly embarrassed.
And then he said, don't tell anybody. And then he proceeded to tell everybody.
That was the thing. He said, please don't tell. I'm so embarrassed that this happened.
Yeah.
And then as soon as everybody walked in.
I told him, I said it was a good story because it shows you lost weight.
Yeah.
Yeah,
no, he should have been proud. If his underpants had come down, that would have been something different. We're getting actually thumbs up stories on that site. Thumbs up on.
People love it. People love pants stories.
They
do.
Love it. They do indeed.
Potato has no pants.
But we have overpants spare, and back home in Colorado we have underpants spare. So we found overpants spare 2 weeks ago in New York. And then where do we find underpants spare? Was he on the street also?
No, I bought him because he was with the Go Potty book that you like.
Yes. One of my favorite books of all time.
My time, honey, is drawing me. Oh, it's 7 minutes.
7 minutes. 7 more minutes of Greeley Crimes of All Times, and then we'll get to Renee Taylor and Rabbi Saul Solomon, plus Inside Broadway we shall go. We'll have a Colorado Limerick of the Damned.
What town?
Of Fort Morgan, Colorado.
Oh, wow.
And speaking of towns, I've been holding this in abeyance, but ladies and gentlemen, for Storytime, we've been doing all sorts of wonderful stories. We've had a cow for Hansel.
Oh yes, that was a good one. It was very stress-inducing because you never knew if Hansel would get the cow. He had a lot of setbacks.
Oh my God! He had goats attacking him.
Yeah.
He had this evil banker. He had everything
the wife
going on.
of the farmer was mean. Yeah. She lied.
So we read that whole story. And then since then, we did Vegetable Friends. We did a story about weird chicken.
You read the book about yourself, the book of David.
The Me and the Bee. Read about
David
Me and the Bee. We did medical emergencies last week.
Yeah, that was scary.
Well, today, in honor of some scary things, of the ghost, of the Carvel ghost cake, we have, because we haven't done a lot of thriller, scary, spooky horror stories.
Is it scary?
Oh, terribly.
Oh, no.
Terribly.
I don't want to hear a scary story.
I was thinking, should I do like Stephen King?
No.
Not Nicholas Sparks, H.P. Lovecraft? No. The scariest thing of all, ladies and gentlemen, for Storytime.
Oh, Lord.
The United States, past and present, the story of New Jersey.
Oh, God. Where did you get that? The library?
Yes. Past and present, New Jersey, by Joanne Mattern.
Let me preview it myself.
Yeah, we're going to do a preview of our story time today. Because I know.
50 states, honey.
I hope this isn't too terrifying for you.
Is this taken out from the library?
Yes, I got to bring it back.
$26.50. They paid $26.50 for this book. Look.
And you know what? Being the library, they probably got 2 copies. Because they get 2 copies of like everything.
Why? Oh, there's a lot. There's geography. Oh, nice. It's a nice map of the states. That's very clear.
Uh-huh.
This is very well done.
I know it'll be well done, but
this
it's New Jersey.
Very well done.
Yeah.
Do they talk about the stink?
I haven't read it yet. We're going to read it on the air. We're going to read about the state of New Jersey. And what a state it's in, ladies and gentlemen. So yeah, so that should be fun.
This is
I
very,
hope it's
it's
fun.
going to be very interesting. This is a good book. It
Oh,
does
good.
history. It does history. Oh, wow.
Is there going to be anything I can make fun of?
This would be good for a kid. Oh, yeah, there's a lot.
Oh, good. Okay, I'm just making sure,
For
because otherwise
example,
it's going to be deadly,
the
folks.
state fruit is the blueberry.
I thought state fruit was Harvey Firestein.
Oh,
No.
the state insect is the honeybee. And the
Oh.
state folk dance is the square dance.
Is it really?
Yes.
Wow.
It's called the Garden State. We know that's not true.
Swing your partner, avoid the smell. You're in New Jersey, close to hell. Everybody grab. Oh.
Oh, and it has a glossary and information.
Oh, it
This
has
is
a
very
glossary,
good
folks.
book.
Yeah. This is
This would be
exciting.
good for children who want to know about New Jersey.
Are there any children who want to know about New Jersey?
Maybe.
And by the way, I have new titles in the series. Like,
Yes.
I think we can guess some of them.
I don't know what they might be.
Oh, they got Delaware. Delaware's happening.
Delaware, the tax-free state.
Oregon is it? Colorado's not. Maybe Colorado is an older title.
They
New
probably
York.
went alphabetically.
I'm sure they started with New York. Oh no, not because Alabama's new. So yeah, and then Tennessee.
Maybe they started by the coast and went over. I don't know.
Oh, maybe they're doing it across the map.
Regional,
anyway,
yeah.
Why New Jersey has an elephant on it? What the hell is that?
That's probably an attraction, an amusement park.
I
They have
guess.
Atlantic City. They have a lot of amusements.
Oh, right.
like all those not Coney Island, the like Atlantic City and whatnot.
Oh, I wonder if they'll have the Jersey Shore in here.
Yeah, what do you call those? Ocean. What's the town they go to? Ocean City or something? There's like a town where people go in summer to vacation. Ocean City, something. They talk about
Oh
going
God.
there. Something New Jersey.
Well, not Asbury Park, but
No, but it's like that.
yeah.
Springsteen came out of Jersey.
That's great. They'll mention him.
Yeah.
They mention John Travolta. There's a whole chapter in here about Jay Wow's divorce. which is
No,
fun.
really?
No, of course there
Wow,
isn't. No.
That's too soon. Too soon.
Oh
too
man.
soon. Yeah, too soon.
Anywho,
The court papers aren't filed yet.
let's do one more.
Okay.
Do you want a new time or an old time?
You pick it. New time.
New time. Okay, here we go. Oh, here we go. Good choice. This is the headline from the Greeley Tribune. You ready?
I'm ready.
This is the actual headline. Greeley man
Yeah.
who shot self, dog, was urinating when gun went off, police say.
No.
Yeah. And this is the importance of grammar here.
Yes.
Because they've got that comma there. Greeley man who shot self, dog, was urinating when gun went off.
Oh, it was the dog or
police
the
say.
man urinating.
And there you
Who
go.
was
Because you
urinating?
figure he shot the dog while he was peeing.
Yeah.
But who was peeing and who was
Man.
shooting? Here's the actual story. A Greeley man who last week shot himself and his dog
Yeah.
was pulling up his pants after using the bathroom when the gun went off.
But then he was doing doo-doo. Men don't pull their pants off to do pee-pee. It's doo-doo.
Yeah, I don't know why maybe he was just doing up. I don't know.
Doo-doo. Then he was doing doo-doo. He was lying.
Let's say he was urinating, and you could tell,
No, but you know what I'm saying? Like you'd stand up and do.
I guess. According to the affidavit for his arrest, Frank Montano, age 48, of Greeley, was staying at the Days Inn on 10th Street with his girlfriend when around 10:20 in the evening, police responded to a report of shots fired. While en route, officers were told a man was seen running through the hotel without a shirt on and carrying a bleeding dog. Once on the scene, police found a trail of blood, but Montano had already run to Pet's emergency.
Wow.
Well, yeah, because he was probably freaked out that he shot his own dog.
Yeah. Oh.
While at the hospital, Montano told police he had taken his Ruger 9mm out of his pants and placed it on the sink to urinate.
Why does the gun?
Are you
have to
buying
urinate?
any of
Why
this?
does the gun have to urinate?
Yeah, that's true. I don't know. Yeah, I'm trying to think of a gun there. Everybody has to go off now and then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe it was a water pistol.
Well, no, this was a Ruger, a 9mm Ruger. He put it on the sink while he was peeing, right? And then when he was finished, Montano grabbed the pistol while he was pulling up his pants and it went off.
I don't understand.
Why do you need to pull your
that's
pants
gonna
down to
bother
pee?
me.
Once on the scene, police found the trail of blood. Oh no, that was old. I'm sorry. The lone bullet went through his right leg and into Michael the dog.
Oh. Is the dog okay?
I don't have the rest of that.
Oh, they never do the outcomes. That bothers me.
I know.
What, don't they think we want to know the outcome?
So is there a moral to this story?
I don't understand it at all. No. Ask Potato to sum it up.
Potato, is there a moral to the P gun story of this Frank Montano in Greeley who shot himself while pulling up his pants? And
I think Potato might say don't wear pants.
Yeah, the pants cause all sorts of problems. Go free like me, right? And also he doesn't have fingers. He can't really carry a gun or shoot a gun.
That's very crazy.
Was looking for something funny to say about that, but I didn't. All I can do is end.
Potato. It's okay. Potato doesn't always have to make a joke.
That's true. But here on Dave's Gone By, we are coming to the finale of Greeley Crimes and Old Times.
Mr. Horace Greeley was no fool. I'm sure that you'll agree with me that Greeley was no fool.
What he is getting at is that Mr. Greeley was no fool. Yippee-yi, yippee-yi, yippee-yi-yi-yi, yippee-yi, yippee-yi, yippee-yi. Yay!
And that's how we end our Greeley Crimes and Old Times segment on this episode of the show. On every episode of the show, you're watching the 680th edition of Dave's Gone By with me.
680, that's
87th edition with me, Dave Lefkowitz, my darling and adorable wife, Joyce, Potato, Brown Bear, and of course the mighty magical orb. That is when giving us it's good. Oh,
it's upside down.
It's upside down, the orb. There we go.
Like a light bulb there for a second.
It does. Ooh, I have an idea.
Okay,
a little comedy there. So we have coming up inside Broadway. We also have our Colorado Limerick of the Damned, and we even have a story time about New Jersey. All of that.
In one, wow.
But let's get to our main attraction, our feast for the ears. Just well, let's see if I have his all-important yarmulke with me. I may not have it here. Oh no, I may have put it in the drawer. Because Rabbi Saul Solomon is entering the building. Oh, here we go. Here's our prop for him. Rabbi Saul. Well, don't hold the Torah upside down because then you have to read backward from Deuteronomy.
Oh,
here's Torah time, but he's not doing one of his sermons. Rabbi Saul has a very important function with us today on Dave's Gone By. He's going to be conducting an interview with a very famous and wonderful and funny actress. Her name is Renee Taylor. And you might remember her back from the 1970s when she and her husband were making movies like Made for Each Other and Lovers and Other Strangers, which was a big hit that year. And they went on to collaborate on bunches of other screenplays and teleplays, and they were on Broadway together and off-Broadway together in shows for many, many years. And then Renee Taylor, probably best known as the mom on The Nanny. She played Fran Drescher's mother, so Grammy Fine, I guess, would have been her character name. So she'll be talking about that, and of course, she's going to be talking about her one-woman show, My Life on a Diet, that will be coming to Bellport, Long Island, the Gateway Theater, on March 15th and 16th. So, it just remains for me to welcome in the spirit, the beauty that is Rabbi Saul Solomon, and of course, the delight that will be him and Renee Taylor. Look at that. Get your candelabras lit. Invite your friends and family over because you're not going to want to miss Rabbi Saul and Renee Taylor right now on Dave's Gone By.
Hi, this is Renee Taylor. You may know me as the nanny's mother or the nanny. And come see me in my one-woman show, My Life on a Diet, in Bellport, Long Island at the Gateway Theater. And I'm happy to be talking to Dr. Saul, Rabbi Saul Solomon. I don't know if I downgraded him to a doctor instead of a rabbi on a Dave's Gone By. Oy vey.
Oh, shalom, my friends. Shalom, my enemies. This is your old pal, Rabbi Saul Solomon, founder and spiritual leader of Temple Sons of Bitches in Great Neck, New York. And I have an introduction here that's probably going to be even longer than the interview I'm about to do because, oh my God, we have a special, wonderful guest on this show. This is a woman who started doing stand-up comedy in Greenwich Village to the point where the person opening for her back in the day was Barbara Streisand. Then she had some roles on Broadway. Then she met her husband and they had more Broadway success and film success with movies like Lovers and Other Strangers and Made for Each Other. And then later on her own, you know this woman as Nanny Finds Mommy on The Nanny. Plus, she's been doing a lot of other TV and film work over the years. But you can see Renee Taylor live March 15th and 16th at the Gateway Theater in Bellport, New York, doing her solo show, My Life on a Diet. So, ladies and gentlemen, oh, it is such a delight to be talking to the funny, the delightful Renee Taylor. Shalom, Renee.
Shalom, shalom.
So, Renee, you are 85 years old. Don't look it, don't feel it, but doing a one-person show like you did this My Life on a Diet for many weeks off Broadway last year, do you pace yourself differently than you did when you were 75, 65, 55, etc.?
I have more fun.
How is, I mean, I know that's sort of a joke, but what do you mean?
I mean, I just love it, and I love meeting the people and talking to them afterwards, and I tell them my life story and what diets I was on, and I love hearing about their diets and their life struggle, and that's my favorite part is after the show when people come and talk to me.
Well, I think what is the joke of the show is that you've been on a diet for 50 years and you've lost, 5 pounds in that whole time? What's the line? I forget.
Actually, I've lost thousands of pounds and put them back on.
So would your advice be to people, love your body, be good to yourself, don't be doing this dieting thing, or do you still, at your stage in life, still watch your weight? You still worry?
I don't worry, but I don't eat after sundown. That's Dr. Oz's diet.
You don't eat anything after, so in other words, once your body starts to, and you go to sleep, you shouldn't have stuff digesting. So,
right. That's when you put on the weight at night. So I've been on a lot of crazy diets, but this one really seems to work.
Ooh, how long have you been on it?
Since yesterday.
So what is the craziest, most ridiculous diet you've ever been on?
The champagne diet, the Vogue champagne diet. I read Vogue magazine. It said you must have 2 glasses of champagne before each meal to take away your appetite. But it can't be cheap champagne because cheap champagne has more calories. So I was on the Cristal diet, and I became a $200 a day drunk.
I can't imagine, because 2 glasses before each meal. You're drinking basically a bottle of champagne every day.
Yeah.
Oh my God! Well, but probably a fun diet to be on.
It was.
So why did you go off it? Or did you?
I became an alcoholic.
Oh, literally. I mean, I thought you were sort of joking about that. But
No, I went to AA.
Wow.
I was with my husband, Joe Bologna, when he was in Brazil doing Don't Blame It on Rio. And I was dancing with Michael Caine on the dance floor, and I passed out, spread eagle on the floor, and my husband said to me, I think we have to sign you up for AA.
Whoa. Now, you don't still have to go to meetings, or you're still, I mean, you have your chip.
No, but I've gone to Overeaters Anonymous, Narcotics Anonymous.
Wait a minute, were you on opioids? Why would you go to Narcotics Anonymous?
At one point, my diet was amphetamines.
Why were you, so you were taking, well, I guess a lot of people do that. The pills they get from these health food, so-called health places are actually just Dexedrine. They're
Oh, yeah, Dexamil.
good Lord.
I was on Dexamil.
Oh, my.
Uppers, downers for my appetite. But I became a dope addict.
How long ago was this?
Oh. Last Tuesday around 3 o'clock. No, years ago.
No, don't you? Are you at the stage?
I've been in all the addict places, even Shopaholics Anonymous.
Oh, well, were you one of these people who had ordered everything from QVC and HLN? Or?
Yes. I just have an addictive personality.
Wow.
So if it's not one addiction, it's another.
Well, let me ask you, though, when you are working on a project like your one-person show, or if you're writing a screenplay or doing that, does that sort of curb the addiction for a while? Can you be a workaholic and plunge into that?
Yeah, I have to watch that. You can get high on just working round the clock, too. Sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night and start writing. 4 o'clock in the morning, yeah.
Wow. When you started...
Budget.
I'm sorry, when you started working on My Life on a Diet, did you...
It was my husband's idea, too.
Well, he directed it. Yeah, he directed it.
And he directed it. And I said, I don't think people would be interested in my life struggle with diet. And he says, why? Everybody's on a diet. I think people would be very interested. So we started working on it, and then it became a little off-Broadway show, and we won prizes, and it won the best one-person show over Bruce Springsteen.
Whoa.
That ain't bad.
Was he mad about that? Did he contact you and say, I'll get you next time?
No, I think he has so much money and so many awards, he doesn't care.
Well, you have some awards. Weren't you Oscar nominated?
Yes.
Yeah. Was that for Lovers and Other Strangers?
Yes, that was great. And now, just before Joe died, we did a movie called Tango Shalom that Joe wrote, and my son Gabriel directed, and I'm in it with Eleni Kazan, and it's about a rabbi, actually,
yes,
who gets a message from God to dance the tango. But the thing is, he's Orthodox and he's not allowed to touch a woman except his wife. So that's his quest, how to dance the tango without touching a woman. And the movie solves that riddle.
I'm thinking maybe a cross-dresser.
How he finally finds a way how to do the tango.
Now, where can people see Tango? Because IMDb says it's in post-production. When can people actually watch it and see it?
Well, as soon as we finish posting it.
Will it be in movie theaters? Will it be
movie theaters.
Oh, my goodness. All
over the world. I'll let you know when it comes out.
Please do. Tango Shalom. How could you not cast me as the rabbi? This makes me mad.
Do you dance?
Oh, no. I have 4 left feet. It's terrible. I don't even want to know.
Well, this guy dances. This rabbi who's in the movie dances.
Mazel. No, he's not an actual rabbi in real life like I am. Is he?
No, but he's Orthodox.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe. Now, was it difficult to work around his Shabbos schedule?
Actually, I played his mother, who's a very old Orthodox lady, and they said, you must have some clothes that are right. I said, no. I don't have, all my clothes are very glitzy. I don't have anything that covers my head and my neck and my hands and my feet and everything. So they said, how are we going to get the costume? And I said, we'll just stand on the street, and when an old lady goes by, we'll say, can we rent your clothes?
Really? You did this?
Yeah.
Wow. And they did?
Yeah.
Huh. Okay. I love these stories of like how films, not films that have $80 million budgets, but a film where you have a certain budget and they like, what do we do? What do we do? Okay, and you come up with a solution.
That's what you do when you don't have money.
Yeah. And Mazel Tov, by the way, you said your son directed the film?
Yes, and my son also. Come in.
I am in. What?
Come in.
I'm in.
Room service. Come in.
Okay. If you need to go get the door, I'll
Okay, stop it for a minute.
We're talking to Renee Taylor. She's in a hotel room in Florida before, of course, she comes to Long Island to do her one-woman show, My Life on a Diet. You're going to go see that.
Wait a minute.
March 15th through the 16th in Bellport at the Gateway Theater. Yeah, and as I remind you, this show was a hit. It was playing a limited run off Broadway last year, and then they extended it because everybody wanted to see it. And you should know that you can also go see this play if you're on the West Coast in early April. She's going to be doing it in Beverly Hills for a couple of weekends in a row in mid-April. But anyway, we have so much to talk to Renee Taylor about, to ask her about the people she's worked with, the scripts she's written, the shows she has done, and of course...
That was room service.
Yes, what did you get? What did you order?
It's a fruit that comes from South America. It's called ACACI.
Well, not acai, but...
Yes, that's what it is.
Yeah, the acai, they make the berry thing out of that, and they say that's really healthy and stuff.
It's an antioxidant.
Oh, okay. What's wrong with oxide?
Yeah.
You want a rust or something? I don't know. But anywho, are you settled? You ready to get back into the thing, right?
Yeah, I'm getting into shape with my diet.
No, I meant get back into our interview. No, you've got your acai plate in your hotel room, and we're good. Because I want to ask you, one of the things that I love doing on this program, since you have worked, you just name-dropped Michael Caine, for goodness sakes. So,
okay, here's another one.
Yeah.
Just before Sid Caesar died, I was at his house for dinner, and Mel Brooks came. And he said to me, did I ever thank you for being in The Producers because I played Eva Braun?
Right.
And I said, no, you didn't. And he said, well, thank you. So it was 50 years later, and he thanked me for being in The Producers.
Well, that's good, because, he had that tiff, I would say, with Cloris Leachman about not even thinking of casting her in the musical of Young Frankenstein. So it's nice that sometimes he sort of remembers and says, and he gives a nice thing, a thank you to you.
No, but he was really wonderful, and he said he remembered when I auditioned for the part, and he said, out of 300 girls, that I was the funniest when I said, ich liebe nicht, ich liebe nicht. And he imitated my audition. So 50 years later, he remembered my audition. That was pretty flattering.
Well, I'll do my best, Dick Shaw. It's like, I leave you, baby, I leave you. Now leave me alone.
Yeah.
Oh, do you have memories, though, of working on The Producers? I mean, you were probably there for just a day during that number, but any memories of the experience?
Well, I was in a play with Gene Wilder, and Mel Brooks came to see it, and I was understudying Ann Jackson, and I went on and played it with Gene Wilder.
Oh, that was Love, directed by Mike Nichols, yes?
Yes. And that's what got Gene the part in The Producers.
Wow.
He didn't even remember me but that's what got Gene the part.
Oh, Myth Miles. Now, that's the thing. You're mentioning people like this. You're mentioning people. I'm not going to let you go or let go of Michael Caine that you were like dancing. Any Michael Caine memories? Anecdote stories?
Michael Caine and my husband had a great time in Rio. And they had a lot of female impersonators try to pick them up.
Okay.
And pick their pocket when they would go for a walk. And Michael Caine said, some of them, he didn't know it was a man.
Oh, well, yeah, back then, even now, sometimes I don't know if I'm a man. I've got to look in the mirror and go, oh, yeah, I've got the hair. I'm definitely male.
Yeah. Well, I tell you, maybe you could, what do you think of people who are sexting their genitals to each other? What do you think of that?
My problem is, if I were showing my genitals to someone, I'd have to make the screen so big just to see it. Because I'm Jewish.
But how about this? How about you don't even know if the person sent you their genitals or somebody else's?
Oh, yeah, no, I think there should be a photo bank of people's genitals, where you can choose one and just send it. And it doesn't have to be. It can be genitals from 3,000 miles away. It's like, oh, I like those. I think I'll send those. Yeah, kind of like an Amazon for genitals. But I don't know how we got on this, but let's talk about other people that you, Renee Taylor, have worked with. For example, you knew Jerry Lewis.
Yes, I was on the Jack Barr show with him one night, and he came on and said, "Oh, lady, you're so talented. If you're ever in California, look me up." And so I flew there the next day.
Yeah.
And I said, "Okay, I'm here." And he said, "Oh, I'm sorry, there's no part in the movie for you." I said, "Yeah, but you wrote it, didn't you? I've seen your movies. Just rip out 5 pages and write in 5 new ones.
Did he?
I'll have a part."
Oh, well, yeah, you were in a Jerry Lewis movie, right?
Yes, he did that. He ripped out 5 pages and wrote 5 new ones so I could be in it.
And again, this is a nice, I mean, we hear a lot of not so nice things about Jerry Lewis, but you're telling nice stories about people, which I like, because he didn't have to do that. He could have been a jerk, but he kept his word. I like this.
Yeah, me too.
Women, how did you meet your husband and co-writer and director, Joseph Bologna? How did you first meet?
Bologna.
Yeah. How did you meet?
Oh.
Hello, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
I asked, how did you first meet him?
I had the same manager as him and Buddy Allen, and he said, "I'm going to introduce you to a writer you're going to have a comedy rapport with." And we did. And the moment I saw him, I shook his hand. I looked in his eyes. I said, "Oh my God, this is the man I'm going to marry." And Joe told me later that he thought, "This woman's looking at me very funny." And 3 months later, we were married.
3 months?
Yeah.
Wow. And those whirlwind romances, and your marriage lasted only a couple of years, like 52 years.
53 years.
53.
We were madly in love for 53 years, and I still am. I still am. And people ask me, would I marry again? Because he just died last year. And I say, absolutely. If I met somebody with the same 10 qualities that he had, which is kindness, compassion, love, sensitivity, intelligence, caring.
Interesting. Nothing physical so far. This is all just like good person mensch kind of things.
There's nothing sexier than being a good man. To me, anyway.
No, was there any issue, though? He was not Jewish. You were, always will be Jewish. Was there an issue of marrying and being with this man back in the day, 54 years ago now? 53?
Yes.
Oh.
His mother said to him, "Look, I believe in true love. Don't see her for a year, and if you still love her, then I'll give you my blessing." And Joe said to her, "How about I don't see you for a year, and we'll see how I feel about you."
Wow. Wow. Good. Did you eventually get along with her, though?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, good. Mazel.
Yeah, she said, "Put on your girdle. The rabbi's coming."
Now, here's a question also, though. You have the son who's directing and doing all these things. Was
He
there
was bar
any...
mitzvah. My son was bar mitzvah, and he had a circumcision.
Oh, yes. Does he
He
still
was
have it?
brought up Jewish, and he went to NYU, and he was a Holocaust scholar. And now he's written a couple of Holocaust movies.
Oh, Mazel. Because you can't be Jewish and not bring up the Holocaust every 10 minutes. It's just part of our DNA, as it were.
Absolutely.
So, but here's also a question. I mean, your Joseph Bologna died last year, and on our program, the Dave's Gone By show, sometimes we talk to people who have lost people recently, just by the luck of the draw, like Carl Reiner. We were talking to him about Estelle, and the musician Tom Paxton was on the show a couple of years ago. He was grieving. Are you still coping with grief?
Yes, I cry every day. I talk to him. As a matter of fact, one of my prayers is I ask God to help me connect with the oneness of Joe and not feel separation now that he's gone. And it's really helping me.
So as you say, you talk to him, you feel his spirit, even though corporeally he's no longer with us.
I talk to him all the time, and he talks to me. I write him letters, and he writes me. I change the color of my pen, and he writes back to me.
Wait, you mean you write out what you feel he is telling you?
Yes. As a matter of fact, my next show is going to be called The Book of Joe.
Oh.
And it's really special stories about our 53 years ago, things he did, things he said. He was always funny. Even when he was dying of cancer, he was always funny.
Well, can you give us a forspice, a little taste of a story or an anecdote or a line that he said that was funny or great or beautiful that you will be putting in this next show that you're doing?
Well, when the doctor told him that he had cancer, he said, but I have to ask you something important. Do you validate?
I'm sorry. I thought there was more to get parking. I'm sorry. On stage, that'll get a big laugh.
He was always making jokes about everything. And I said to him, Joe, I'm sorry. All the years we were married together, I yelled so much. I should have cried more and screamed less. And he said, Renee, that's good to know.
Well, was yours a quiet, like, you were madly in love with each other and happy for 52 years, but was it like a Maud and Walter kind of marriage where it was a yelling and screaming all the time, but, that was the way you did, or was it more quiet and funny and joking all the time?
It was both.
Okay.
We'd have a fight, and then we'd do a joke. I'd say, oh, I have an appointment. Remember where you were, and I'll meet you here later, and we'll continue the argument.
That's great. I'm just so angry. There are not a lot of marriages out there that have that.
I don't know why. The most important thing is to have a sense of humor, not take yourself seriously. Like one time I said to him, you ruined my life. I never want to see you again. He said, okay, but where do you want to have dinner?
Now, when he does something like that, or you say something like that, does that wind up in a script 3 months later?
Yes, absolutely.
Of course.
Like our play.
Yeah.
Once we had a fight when we were first married, and I said, get your things and get out, because, when you're first married, you talk like that.
Yeah.
Get out. So he started packing. And then I started packing, and he said, where do you think you're going? And I said, if you ever leave me, I'm going with you.
Well, that was the title of...
That then became the title of the last Broadway show that we did together.
Yes, and I did not get to see that, unfortunately, but the producer of this program, Dave, he saw it. He enjoyed that very much. That was a very, very nice show.
Thank you.
And let's talk about some other people. It's lovely to hear about Joseph.
Richard Lewis was a fan of us and our movie Made for Each Other, which was the first movie that we wrote and started together.
Yeah.
And he said when he was dating girls that he would go out with a girl, and if he'd show her the movie, and if she didn't love it, he would never see her again.
And you ended up working with him and Don Rickles on a sitcom.
Yes, I played his mother and Don Rickles' ex-wife. And Don Rickles was so funny when we were shooting that he broke me up all the time on the set, when he would forget a line, he would make a joke, and I would just laugh and laugh.
Oh, that's why. Because I figured that's a very weird couple of people to be doing a sitcom with. And Lewis has had his issues. How was he? He's neurotic to begin with. Was he manageable during the season that show ran?
Oh, Don Rickles?
No, Richard Lewis.
Oh, no, Don Rickles was not Richard Lewis.
Wait, what?
Don Rickles was the crazy one, not Richard Lewis.
You mean off camera, off set? Because we get Richard Lewis tells stories of back in the day when he was on drugs a lot, and he was
Oh no, he was sober here. He was sober.
Oh good. Oh,
he
good.
was great. He's wonderful.
Now let's roll back even further to a name that maybe not a lot of our listeners would know, but they ought to, because he was a very important man of the theater. You were once directed by George Abbott.
Oh yeah, and he was 100. And when he would give me a direction and I would do it, he would then take me in his arms and we would waltz.
Oh.
And he once sent an actor home for wearing dungarees and sneakers. He said, "You're disrespectful to the theater." In those days, actors dressed when they came to the theater. The audiences did too. Now people come to the theater in shorts.
Oh, well, yes. Well, it's true. And you know what? If you're paying $300 for a Broadway ticket, you can wear what I'm going naked. Because basically, if you're paying that kind of money for a Broadway ticket, you can't afford clothes.
I don't know. I think the theater is like a temple. It's very sacred and holy, and that we should treat it like that. You know, actors are really the oldest profession.
Well, yeah, but have you ever eaten with one of them? That's a line from the producers, of course. I stole that. I did. Another person that you would check it. This woman, Renee Taylor, was in a movie with this cast: Jack Gilford, Robert Duvall, and Frank Sinatra.
Frank Sinatra.
Yeah.
When I met Frank Sinatra, I was in The Detective with him.
Right.
And every morning I'd come in. I was so in awe of him. I'd say to him, "So you're Frank Sinatra?"
And how would he respond?
By the third day, he said to me, "Yeah, I'm Frank Sinatra."
Do you have any other stories about him, or his behavior, or his just being frank?
Well, I'm very proud of my one possession. I have an autographed photograph he gave me that Don Rickles got him to give me.
Oh,
it said, "To Renee, good luck.
All right.
Love, Frank Sinatra."
Well, Frank Sinatra.
And that, he didn't give that to many people.
That is nice. I like hearing that. Tell me also, wait, who else do I have? There's so many people. You were in the movie version of Neil Simon's Last of the Red Hot Lovers.
Oh, yeah.
Alan Arkin. For any stories, because he's a crazy dude. Any stories about him or Neil Simon?
Alan Arkin was always a lot of fun. I always had a lot of fun with him.
Good.
He's gotten more serious now. But he was a lot of fun. Well, I always played jokes on him and made him laugh. And I also, Neil Simon, I was in a television show he wrote besides that.
Oh.
And it was really exciting to be with him. And we went to, when Sid Caesar died, we did a tribute to him at the, are you a member of the Friars Club?
I'm thinking about it, but I bake things. Frying is too, it gives you cancer and stuff, so I don't fry much. That was a joke. I'm a fryer. Get it? Fryers?
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, don't be sorry. I'm sorry. But no, I'm not. I know, of course, of the Friars Club, yeah.
Uh-huh. So they did a tribute to him, and he came and said wonderful things about Sid Caesar.
Oh. Sid
Caesar was so loved by all his writers, Mel Brooks, Woody Allen.
Well, he was,
What?
I'm just trying to say what people think of Sid Caesar. pleaser. He was such a multi-talent. He was such an energy comedy force that it's almost hard for us to think back of what he meant to television back in the 1950s.
Yes. But he was painfully shy.
Really?
And I would have dinner at his house with Joe, and I would say to him, whenever I say, "Oh boy," I think of you, because he used to do all these sketches where that was at the end he'd go, "Oh boy."
Oh.
That was the cursing then.
Oh, that was, well, yeah, at least on camera it was. But what else? What else are we talking with Renee Taylor?
I worked with B. Arthur. She was the funniest woman I ever worked with.
Give us a B. Arthur story, please.
Well, she really would...
No, please.
Don't down the vodkas.
What?
She just drinks straight vodka.
Oh.
Does. And I say, B, you're going to get sick with so much vodka. And she said, "Oh, shut up." And she passed out.
Oh, good Lord. Was this at the TV studio or just at dinner somewhere?
At a bar. We'd go for a drink after the theater.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, B. Arthur. As I always say, if you can't be good, be Arthur. That's what I'm saying. That's
what?
Little joke there. Little comedy there.
Oh, be good?
If you can't be good, be Arthur. All right, I'm not going to make that joke. But let me bring up another person that people might necessarily associate with you. You were in a movie called Delirious with the late John Candy.
Yeah, he was very funny.
Yeah, well, I heard he was a sweetheart, too.
Very sweet, but what he was done in by his weight.
Well, yeah. But he wasn't. He was obese. He wasn't morbidly obese. I imagine there were other factors involved for him to die that young. But I don't know.
I think it was heart. I think it was his heart gave out. John Belushi, who did drugs.
Wait, who did? John Belushi, of course, and the other fat guy on Saturday Night Live. I forget his, who kept pulling his pants back and forth, which was really funny. Yeah. We haven't even talked about The Nanny. Give us, what is your favorite Nanny episode?
Oh, the one with Elizabeth Taylor.
Oh, okay.
That's the one I was nominated for an Emmy for. When Liz Taylor was on the show, she had a diamond ring as big as her knuckle. And I said, "Oh, could I try that on?" She said, "No."
Okay. Was she nice the rest of the time?
She was a star. She had to have water in a glass jar. She had to have flowers. She was absolutely gorgeous.
Okay, but it's a shame that she wasn't more personable to you and the other cast.
Oh, when you're that big a movie star, it's hard. It's very hard.
Well, now, come on. You have been in this business long enough to know some very big movies. So you already mentioned a couple. You've talked about a couple. Tell me that there aren't movie stars that you've worked with who aren't incredibly rich and famous and yet really down to earth and really sweet.
Let me think.
Ooh.
Well, Fran.
Who?
Fran is very rich and famous now.
Who is? I'm sorry?
Fran Drescher.
Fran Drescher.
Rich and famous.
Yeah. Now, she had a lot riding on her. What was it like working with her on the show for many weeks, many times?
Oh, it was always fun.
Oh, good.
I still see her very often. I came down to Florida and saw her in a show here.
And you were on I wouldn't call it the sequel to The Nanny, but she did another sitcom about divorce a couple of years.
And I was on that, too.
Oh, good.
She's just great fun to be around all the time, and very generous and very kind person, even though she's very, very rich. I don't think I'll be as rich as her until, maybe next week.
No, you should. Thank God, you should be pretty comfortable. You had a hit movie. You had movies on TV. You constantly work in television. I mean, you should be pretty okay, comfortable. Am I right?
Well, let me tell you this. I have a timeshare at Cedars-Sinai.
Now that's good. And does dinner begin at 3:30 in the afternoon? Just checking on that.
Yes.
We've been talking, and by the way, you can also hear, you've done voice work. You were on Bob's Burgers
Yes.
a couple of times.
That was fun.
Whom do you play on that?
The mother-in-law of Bob.
How do you like doing voice work?
I love it.
Yeah.
I was also in, I did a lot of Ice Age. I did a lot of voiceovers. I like doing cartoons.
Well, yeah,
I was on a lot of Disney shows. Shake It Up. Did you ever see that?
Afraid I did not see Shake It Up. No, no.
Little kids stop me on the street and say, "You are so mean."
Ooh.
They really take it personally.
Well, yeah, well, good, but that means you're doing your job. You're making them believe that you're a rotten person, which you are not. You are lovely and delightful. And if people want to hear your story, or at least the first part of your story, before you do your one-person show about the marriage, you're talking about my life on a diet, and everybody can go see that, please, 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 at the Gateway Theater in Bellport, Long Island. That is happening on March 15th and 16th. And by the way, I will remind also our West Coast listeners that in early April, you're going to be doing it in Beverly Hills for...
Yeah, that's exciting. I'm going to be at the Wallace Annenberg.
Yeah, that's pretty, I mean, spiffy. Very impressive.
Spiffy.
And I didn't even mention, how could I not mention that you made your stage debut in a Purim spiel?
Yes, I played a slave girl. I got $5 to dance across the stage.
That's more than I make as a rabbi, so I'll talk to you on that. And I didn't even ask, do you have any memories since when you were a stand-up comedian of Barbara Streisand opening for you?
Barbara Streisand, I talk about her in the show.
Oh, okay. Can you give us a little taste, a little...
Yeah. She always used to ask me what song to sing when we were at the club together. And then when she sang at the White House, she called me and said, "Renee, I'm singing at the White House. What should I sing? What should be my opening number?" I said, "Barbara, I told you 10 years ago. You didn't listen. Look where it got you."
So let me ask one last question for the wonderful Renee Taylor. Joan Rivers, back in the day. Well, not that long ago. They did a documentary about her, and one of the things that it showed was, and I talked with you about being sort of a workaholic, was there was this fear of her calendar at one point being empty, that she would wake up and the phone would stop.
Yeah, that was sad. I knew Joan Rivers when she was a young comedian, and we used to go looking for guys on the weekend before she was married too. And once we went to Fire Island, as the ferry was pulling in, I said to her, "Uh-oh, we're at the wrong place."
But, well, I mean, yeah, if you were looking for men on Fire Island, I mean, they would do your hair, perhaps.
Yeah.
They just won't do you. Yeah, okay. But with Joan Rivers, it wasn't. That's a wonderful story. But I was also just going to ask: do you ever have that worry of that the phone won't ring, the calendar will?
Oh yeah, I think every actor has that. But then, at some point of your life, I hope you decide that your life is the most important thing. And it's going to support your work instead of your work being your life.
And are you able to live there? Because you constantly write. I don't think you ever get writer's block. They're always, even if you're just talking to Joe and writing that down, there's always something to write. Is that true? You never have writer's block?
Well, no, but I'm in Florida for the first time. I'm going to be here for 6 weeks, and I am not working. I'm just having fun and feeling my grief in between having fun, and it feels good.
And speaking of feeling good, are you feeling well? You're healthy? Things are
My
good?
health has never been better.
Well, you have made us all feel healthier and better just by talking to us in the Daverhood on the Dave's Gone By program. It just remains for me to say, oh my God, what joy we've had talking to Renee Taylor. See
I
her?
hope you're going to come to my show and come backstage.
Oh, yeah, it would be such an honor to meet you. I went in March. It's March 15th, 16th at the Gateway Theater in Bellport, Long Island. For God's sakes, get your tickets right now so you have them in case it sells out. You know, and hopefully I'll be able to see you backstage and give you a blessing. Or, you give me a blessing. I'm tired of blessing people.
Let's all about blessing. Every God blessing all of us.
Yeah, that would be nice. Renee Taylor, and just thank you and say shalom to you.
And thank you, Rabbi.
Renee Taylor and Rabbi Sol Solomon on Dave's Gone By. What a joy to have her on the program. And of course, what a joy it will be to see her in Bellport on March 15th and 16th. Do get your tickets at the Gateway Playhouse. Go there in person or get them online at the Gateway's website. I mean, I may go with the Rabbi together so we can just bask in the delight and the joy that is Renee Taylor. I hope you've been basking in the delight and joy that is this program, Dave's Gone By, the Facebookio program of the stream with me, Dave Lefkowitz. It is our 687th episode. We've been calling it Taylor Made. Get it, in honor of our guest, Renee Taylor. And are we done with the show? Because we're supposed to go from 9 until 11 Eastern time. But no, even though it's already 11:15, we have so much more to do. We haven't even done Inside Broadway yet, not to mention the Colorado Limerick of the Damned. And of course, speaking of the damned, our StoryTime, which goes to New Jersey. So much more to do. Please hang with us. Please stay with us. Welcome, by the way, to all these people who tuned in to ring the Renee Taylor interview, like Paula, and David and Karen and Harlan, speaking of radio folks, and Martha and Trevor, also speaking of radio people. So great to see you, and thank you for joining us in the Daverhood every Saturday from 9 until 11 plus Eastern time. If you want to find out more about the show, go to davesgoneby.com, DAVESGONEBY, davesgoneby.com. That is the place to hear all our archives. So let's say, you know people who would have liked to have heard the Renee Taylor interview, but they're not home, or they tuned in for the first part of the show and we were going on for like almost an hour and a half before we brought Renee Taylor in and they couldn't stick around. Tell them, look, this show will be archived by tomorrow, assuming all the, our stuff is working, and we'll even archive the video too. So you can go right on this Facebook page and watch it, or you can go to the website, davesgoneby.com, and listen not only to today's show, once it's archived, but last week's show and the week before that and a month before that and 10 years, all the way back to our first show in October of 2002. So we're basically 16 and a half years into doing these programs, and we've saved nearly every single one of them at davesgoneby.com. So by all means, do tell your friends, because we've had so many people on them, and we've done so much comedy and had so much fun. davesgoneby.com. If you want to email me, davesgoneby@aol.com is the place to do that, or just drop me a message right here on our Facebook page. I keep opening my eyes wider because they look so tired and closed, but no, I'm wide awake and opening those eyeballs for you. There we go. Maybe I should just look directly at the camera instead of at myself, so we're sort of down and away. I gotta get used to that. Let's see how that works. Or is that creeping you out? Send me a message. Let me know if I should be looking right here or looking down here. Send me a message or send me an email, davesgoneby@aol.com, or right here at Radio Dave Lefkowitz, our Facebook page? Well, as promised, I want to tell you about Broadway because, Renee Taylor and her husband Joe Bologna were Broadway people. And they did their show, If You Ever Leave Me, I'm Coming With You. So I'm a theater guy myself. I've done acting and directing. I've been a theater journalist for about 30 years, a theater critic as well. So I love to do a segment every week called Inside Broadway, where I tell you about stuff happening in New York theater, both a bit of theater news and some reviews. Now that I'm back in New York for a bit and seeing a lot of shows, I want to review them for you and tell you whether they're worth seeing or not, and also say farewell to a couple of pretty major names who have theater credits to them. We call it Inside Broadway. Inside Broadway, a look at theater on and off Broadway and beyond. Brought to you by Total Theater and Performing Arts Insider. Curtain going up. Well, we begin with a bit of Broadway news for you, and kind of a little bit of controversial Broadway news that has been resolved almost as quickly as it sprang up. So you know that there is a big hit new version of To Kill a Mockingbird on Broadway right now. So Aaron Sorkin, the guy from The West Wing and The Social Network and a bunch of movies, very, very talented writer, brilliant writer actually. He also did A Few Good Men. Aaron Sorkin was asked, I guess, by Scott Rudin to do a version of To Kill a Mockingbird. And he wrote one, he did it, and it took forever to get permission from the Harper Lee estate to make sure they're doing it right, to get the characters in a way that is honoring the late Harper Lee, who wrote To Kill a Mockingbird. So they did, and he did, and they brought it to Broadway, and lo and behold, it looks like it's going to be a big hit. It's selling really, really well. It's got Jeff Daniels in the lead role. He's gotten really good reviews for it. Okay, great, fabulous. Broadway has To Kill a Mockingbird, and it is giving people an opportunity, maybe if they haven't read the book, or if they read the book a long time ago, or they want something besides seeing the movie, the greatest American movie ever, but instead of seeing that over and over again, go see the story told on Broadway in a different way, with a somewhat different perspective. And it is, the show is worth seeing. I got to see it a couple of weeks ago, rather liked it, but for me it's not even remotely a patch on the film. And it's a nice Broadway dramatized version of it, and it comes at it from the perspective of Tom Robinson making one mistake and saying that he felt sorry for white people, and they make the whole play hinge on that, as opposed to having one or two scenes in the movie hinge on it. But anyway, big hit on Broadway, right? So how does that affect other places? How does that affect small theaters across the country? Well, go figure that the very wise businessman, Scott Rudin, when he was getting the contracts and dealing with the Harper Lee estate in order to allow Aaron Sorkin to write a Broadway production of To Kill a Mockingbird, he's going to make sure that nothing was going to counter it, that there wasn't going to be any competition. So he had a clause in the contract there to say that no production of To Kill a Mockingbird could be done within 25 miles of a major city while this To Kill a Mockingbird is going on Broadway, because they want to tour it, of course, or have other sit-down productions of this Aaron Sorkin adaptation of the Harper Lee novel. Does that make it, yes, it does. Because back in 1991, another playwright named Christopher Sergel wrote a version of To Kill a Mockingbird. He got permission to adapt it, and he did it basically for middle school and high school audiences. So it isn't quite children's theater, but it's more young adulty theater. But, everybody loves the story. And I guess it was a pretty good adaptation. I've never seen it. But they've been doing the Christopher Sergel adaptation for 30 years. And it's 11, yeah, just about. And, no problem. Well, now there's a problem. Because you're not allowed to do that adaptation, because Scott Rudin has the rights to Kill a Mockingbird not being done in any way by anybody, not just the Aaron Sorkin play, but any adaptation of To Kill a Mockingbird, including the Sergel one, cannot be done now while the show is on Broadway. Well, I mean, this kind of doesn't sound too terrible until you realize that hundreds and hundreds of theaters year after year are doing this older To Kill a Mockingbird. And there were theater companies with this on their season schedules. There were theater companies that were already in rehearsal with sets built of the Christopher Sergel To Kill a Mockingbird, and they suddenly had a cease and desist, which for a small little community theater that gets by on $20,000 a year for a season of 3 or 4 shows, including a musical, that's brutal. That's death. It's like, oh my God, we can't do the show that we were meant to do, that we had our patrons subscribing to, that we're already rehearsing and have the costumes and the sets for. And immediately they started complaining and getting back and thinking of doing a countersuit or figuring out what the hell to do. And the story made the New York Times this week, and eventually it got back to Scott Rudin. He didn't want the bad publicity, so he said, I'll tell you what, make you a deal. Don't do the old Christopher Sergel To Kill a Mockingbird. I will let you do the new one by Aaron Sorkin, the one that is on Broadway now. So if you're if you want to do a To Kill a Mockingbird, instead of canceling, use what you got and do the play that I commissioned, and then so like Aaron Sorkin gets the royalties, and I get it. So it kind of does in a way work out, because they can promise a To Kill a Mockingbird, and actually it's going to be interesting because it's a very hot ticket in New York, and so there are people in Kansas and Dayton, Ohio, and places that will get to see this new To Kill a Mockingbird before these rich New Yorkers are paying $250 a ticket can get in to see this one. So kind of funny, but congratulations to, because there was going to be a ban. I mean, they were going to start saying, or not a ban, a boycott on Scott Rudin's shows. And those include shows coming to Broadway like The King Lear, starring Glenda Jackson, and the show Gary, a sequel to Titus Andronicus, which stars Nathan Lane, and the very excellent play The Ferryman that's on Broadway now. So there were bloggers calling for boycotts of Rudin's shows. Now, hopefully that will all cool down, and they're going to work it all out. So hopefully it will. I do still feel bad for the Christopher Sergel estate, because in fact, Christopher Sergel's grandson runs the publishing company that publishes the Sergel play. So, productions of that show are going to go to nil right now. The other thing that the theater companies could have done, I forgot to mention this, is it couldn't be within 25 miles of a major city. So they would either have to cancel the show, or they find a little theater out in the countryside, past suburbia, far enough away from the city, where legally they could actually move To Kill a Mockingbird and do it. Well, kind of like shooting a mockingbird, isn't it? Hey, boo. Okay, what else we got here? Oh, we have a review to do for you, because I've been seeing some Broadway theater. I've been a theater critic for a bunch of years, and now that I'm in New York and seeing a whole bunch more than I have been able to for years, I want to come and report on it back to you. So I saw a couple of shows recently, one of them on Broadway, and it is a new musical. And I'm very happy to say at least that part, that this is a brand new musical in all ways. New score. It isn't a jukebox musical. It isn't taking some hits from the 1980s or 60s or 50s and shoehorning them into a story. And it's a new story. This isn't even from a movie being adapted, which is where all the musicals are coming from nowadays. No, they thought of this all on their own little tiny brains to make a new musical comedy called The Prom, Broadway's new musical comedy, and it's got some pretty cool people who have put it together, including the guy who created The Drowsy Chaperone, Bob Martin. He co-wrote the book with Chad Begwelin. It's got music by Matthew Sklar, lyrics by Begwelin, and I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. So, The Prom, and here's the story. It's a very cute idea for a musical. So you've got these Broadway actors, and they're in a terrible flop. It's a musical of Eleanor and Franklin that does not go well at all. So one-nighter, they know they're going to close, and they need to get their careers back. They realize they're going to be washed up if they don't find something to do to make them relevant in the Facebook, Instagram kind of era. what to do. Well, one thing is to find a cause and get out on the barricades and further that cause and show that not only are you famous enough that somebody's going to listen to you, because we all listen to famous people for the political views, but that sure, you've got a soul, you've got a heart, and you're going to help someone in need, and then you're on the politically correct side of things so that you're relevant to the younger people. So they go scouring the newspapers for what to fight for. And they read a story in the paper about this nice high school girl who is a lesbian, and she has a girlfriend. The girlfriend is in the closet with her parents and pretty much everybody else, but they are together, they like each other, they love each other. And so she wants to bring her girlfriend to the prom and have her as the prom date, right? And in that way, the girlfriend can also come out on that night, and they can also be together and declare themselves and not have to hide and not have to be sort of, obviously a lesbian, but not say it to people. So there you go, fine. Problem is, of course, there are some intolerant people in this town in Ohio who object to this and say that, they don't want it for their kids, it's a bad example, and so forth. So now they have to figure out what to do with the prom, and they cancel it. Well, this makes the papers in a little item. The actors see this and they're like, aha, we have found our cause. So they'll all go down to this little town and try to help this poor lesbian girl to get her prom back and to show the idiot people of these small towns and their small minds that no, Hollywood will not stand for this, or New York actors, Broadway stars will not stand for this kind of intolerance, and everybody's equal and LGBT and all of that. So that is the basic thing. And they come to town and they end up in some ways causing more trouble than would have been worked out anyway with the PTA and with the parents and with all the kids anyway. So the actors come and cause it seems a comical one. And that's the whole idea of the prom on Broadway. Okay, so is it worth seeing? Is it a fun show? I find it a pretty entertaining show, rather longish for the story that I just told you. It's about a solid 2.5 hours, did not need to be. And it's kind of extending parts and dragged off in parts. I see some thumbs up in terms of somebody's either agreeing with me that it's an okay show, not a wonderful one, or somebody liked the plot. I always get the thumbs up after a little later than what I know they're thumbing, but thank you for the thumbs up. But yeah, it's a cute show. It made me laugh almost never really out loud. There's actually one line, I think, about, was it New Jersey? Or something like that. One line that had me really rolling. The rest of the time, one of those bemused smiles on my face. It's like, oh, that's cleverly worked out. I like the fact that it is a new piece, as I said. And these are smart, talented people. What it doesn't have, and I say this about a lot of the shows that I see, that are really well done and done by talented folks and clever lyrics and, good Broadway-ish tunes, is that it doesn't have the spark of real inspiration. I mean, it's got craftspeople working on it, and they do good work, but there are very few moments where you go, the joy isn't there for me in this one. Even as it's pleasant, it's amusing, it's entertaining. I like some of the characters, I like the idea of the show. But that little extra spark is what keeps me from saying to you, run out and get tickets to the prom because it's hilarious. It's not hilarious. It's wonderful. It's not so wonderful. It's good. It's certainly good. Let me tell you a little bit more. You've got Beth Level. And I hope I'm not mispronouncing that. I'm not sure if it's Beth Level or Beth Level. She's gotten amazing reviews. And she certainly has quite an amazing voice for the songs that she sings. She has a big number in the second act, as you're supposed to, the 11 o'clock number that comes at 10:15. But she's good in that, and other times, I don't know, I found her in some ways a collection of eccentricities and tics for her character. She is playing this Broadway diva, Broadway star, not hugely famous, but kind of famous, certainly in New York circles, and as rich as she is, and she's getting over a divorce. But I didn't really buy the character as a real breathing character. It was always a little bit too much shtick, a little too over the top for it to be believable. So I know other people, other critics loved her. I absolutely have my reservations about the way she's playing that part. There's also Brooks Ashmanskas, a talented Broadway veteran. He plays Barry, co-star. He's also another Broadway actor, very flaming, over-the-top, eccentric, gay. His character's a bit more believable, though, even though he's flashy, even though he walks on stage and he's instantly effeminate. But there's a lovable side to him and a believable side and a better story, I think, and that helps too. He's got the play is almost, and I think one of the issues with the play is we're not sure who is the lead character. One of the things, if you read Jack Bertel's book about Broadway, is you have to have one lead character with a through line, and they can have all these other side stories going on. But here, we're not really sure if the young lesbian girl is the lead character. We're not sure if the arc belongs actually to the lead to the older actress from Broadway, or half the time it's Barry's arc. And because he has always wanted to go to a prom, and it breaks his heart when this girl's prom is not going to happen because she's gay. So they build their story together a lot. But a lot of the time, I think that may be one of the reasons why it takes so long to tell this story, because they keep veering back and forth as to, well, whose story is the proms? And if they fix that up, I think they have a more streamlined show, a better show, and funny, without losing all the good stuff that they've got. And the good stuff includes a song for the lead young actress, and she's a bit of a find. Her name is Caitlin Kinnunen, and she's very appealing. She isn't a glam. I'm sure in real life with the wig off and without she's a very beautiful woman. But they keep her kind of cute, plain, like a real, actual, normal-looking high school student, which is nice. And she's really likable, and she has an excellent song that, did I write it down? Did I write the name of it? But it's in the first act, and it's a real kind of I want song that is a classic good theater piece and memorable, and the kind that you will turn back to on the cast album while skipping over some others. There's also a very fun dance number with Angie Schworer. She's another person who was in this Broadway show that flopped, the Eleanor show, and she does a dance and song number called The Zazz, where she's teaching the story that we all hear about Bob Fosse back in the day. Was that, it's not about this particular move or being great or being a trained ballet dancer. It's not enough to just move. You've got to have the zazz, right? So then she does a whole song of it, all with Angie Schworer's very talented dance, Fosse-like moves. I mean, it's cute in a way, but it's also, must every Broadway show now have homages to shows that went before? I mean, so much about the prom is original. It's kind of like, oh yeah, okay, let's have a Fosse tribute song. It'd be nice if everything were completely original, but at the same time, it's a fun number, and Schworer rocks the house, and it's a nice bonding with her when she teaches the Emma, the young lesbian girl, to have a bit of the zazz. It's a nice show. Okay, I'll give it 3 stars. Will I pay $250 to see it? No. $100 to see it? I don't know. But certainly you could do a lot worse than the Prom on Broadway. What else did I write about it? Because I always make my notes here. There's nothing objectionable. What else? I like Michael Potts playing Mr. Hawkins. He plays the principal of the high school where all this is going on. And that's a sympathetic character. He doesn't want problems. He's in Emma's corner. He wants this to be resolved, and he feels bad when the PTA cancels the prom. And there are laughs. You know what? I think this show is going to work better when it moves away from Broadway and starts playing in smaller houses. When they start playing it in theaters for 500 people instead of 900. And then they do it in actual high schools and colleges. I think it's really going to work like gangbusters. I just think it doesn't quite fill the Broadway stage for 2.5 hours. And I'll bet you if I see a production of this later on, years from now, I'll go, oh, this is really funny and really cute when you're closer to people and you have actors who don't have to be so big for a Broadway stage. It's going to work a lot better. So I feel good. I feel better about the prospects for the future of the Prom than necessarily the show that's on Broadway right now. And it might also be one of those shows, if I go see it again towards the spring, towards awards time, and seeing it a second time and having one viewing under my belt, I might like it more. Anyway, The Prom on Broadway, 3 stars from me, Dave. And Dave, by the way, is the guy who hosts this show. It's called Dave's Gone By, and this segment called Inside Broadway, which we could not do, or at least not do as well, without the help of this wonderful journal, Performing Arts Insider, the Bible of Broadway, since 1944. Swear to gosh, it's been around that long. So look how beautiful it is. You can get the color cover. More importantly, it's what's in the magazine that counts, which is kind of the point of the Prom. So here, look at this. Table of contents, a guide to the Broadway season. All the shows that are currently running from previous seasons, every show that opened 2019 or 18 and 19, into the shows that are already in the till or going to happen next season. For example, you've got Tea at 5, Moulin Rouge at the Hirschfeld Theater, and a revival of West Side Story. That's already coming up next year. But more stuff in this. Look, Broadway theaters and their tenants. Every single theater on Broadway, who's playing in it, how long it's going to be running, how many seats are in the theater, whether it's Drew Jamson or Schubert or Niederlander or other. We move to the next page, Press Agent's Guide. All these people who handle the Broadway shows. If you need house seats, if you want to know or contact people involved in various shows, here are the email addresses and phone numbers and addresses of all the press agencies that handle every show on Broadway. And then we get to the meat of the magazine, day by day on Broadway, all the shows currently running, and then a calendar listing when a show starts, previews, opens, and closes for every Broadway show, as well as, and you can't get this part anywhere else, every show off and off Broadway. Look at that. Well, let's go to, today's already March 2nd, and I've got the February issue in hand. But yesterday, starting previews, you had a double bill, by our friend of the Daverhood, as a matter of fact, the New York Gilbert and Sullivan Players, which are conducted and have an artistic director named Albert Bergeret. He was on our show a few years ago. Well, they're doing a couple of little-known operettas called Ages Ago and Mr. Jericho. They're one acts, and they're being done together. That is at the Dean Little Theater, New York, and that started previews on March 1st, which was that yesterday? Or it started yesterday. And then there's a show called Ajijak at the New Victory Theater, a children's show. You can find all those kinds of listings day by day in Performing Arts Insider. And then look at this, a guide to awards and special events. So if we're going to head towards awards season surprisingly soon, March and especially April and May, and then June is the Tony Awards. This is all the listings of those kinds of things that are happening, who's producing them, where they're taking place, what press agent is handling, information about them. For example, last week, the Roundabout had a gala. The Roundabout Theater Company, Polk & Company were the press agents for it. It was a dinner and an auction and a performance, including the Jason Robards Award, which went to John Lithgow. Where are you going to get that information? You get it in the pages of Performing Arts Insider. And then, of course, the big heart of the magazine, comprehensive listings of every show on Broadway, off and off Broadway, page after page, until you get to the index at the end. So there's nothing handier. You can open a dozen windows on your computer. You're not going to get everything as succinctly and perfectly put together as you will in the pages of Performing Arts Insider. How do you get it? Go to performingartsinsider.com. performingartsinsider.com. It's expensive, I'll admit that, but people who subscribe renew year after year, because there's no place they can get all this info in the same easy way. performingartsinsider.com, or you can subscribe for the 21 issues per year, 12 issues per year if you just want the monthly, or if you're not sure about it, send away for a single copy, or you can actually buy a single copy at Theater Circle in Manhattan. Performing Arts Insider, it is the Bible of Broadway. Well, I mentioned that it's not just Broadway, it's off and off Broadway. I saw an off-Broadway show just a couple of days ago at New York Theater Workshop, a show that actually just got extended to March 24th. Now, New York Theater Workshop, it takes a little doing. to get there because it's right across the street from La Mama down on 79 East 4th Street. So the closest subways are 5 blocks away, but sometimes it's worth going. Is it worth going to this new play that they have there by Madeline George, directed by Leigh Silverman? It is called Hurricane Diane. Hurricane Diane. And it's kind of a cute, interesting concept. Here's the thing. And it takes place, go figure, in New Jersey. So it's perfect timing that we have that as our story time coming up. But in New Jersey, this unusual gardener comes to call. And it's a rather gender unspecific. It's a lesbian truck driver. I guess lesbianism is the theme of our Inside Broadway today. But it's a lesbian truck driver who is really quite mannish. And it's hard to tell. If you saw her on the street, you honestly would have trouble discerning that this actress and also the character is a woman. And in this particular case, it is a woman truck driver named and gardener named Diane. Okay, now here's the deal. Diane, as she tells us right in the beginning of the show, is actually Dionysus come to Earth. Dionysus is worried about the fate of the planet. She realizes that we're polluting everything, that we're pouring crap on all our gardens, on our plants, on our flowers, and of course deforesting the whole world. It is time for her to make an appearance on the planet one more time and save us from ourselves and get gardens properly working again, doing something called perma vegetation, or perma gardening, in which gardens literally take care of themselves. So you're not just planting tomatoes this year and celery and carrots next year, but if you plant everything in kind of a wild way, you don't even have to water because one tree will drop the acorns that will grow into this, and then that will create its own liquid and it will be moist there, and that'll take care of this crop. It may not be the most beautiful, manicured, horticultural looking garden, but it will be the most self-sustaining, perma-sustenance, and that is what this Diane character, who is really Dionysus, believes in. But what does Diane have to do? She can't just go door to door and say, hey, this is how you should do it, because she's a god, or she is a god. She's got to do it a certain way. And what Dionysus does is he needs 4 women to be part of his harem, essentially, to be orgiastically connected to him, physically, sexually, emotionally, spiritually, and then to go back to what is wild in us, to be pure and natural and crazy and physical and sensual and so forth. So he's got to find 4 women who will do that with him / her. And in this play, of course, it's a her, but Madeline George, I do believe, is a lesbian playwright. So this Diane finds a street where there are 4 women living there, each of them, as she would say, ripe for the plucking, right? To come be seduced in a way and then join her in throwing off the shackles of modern suburban pointless life and getting back to nature. And one by one, she goes about trying to seduce them, both with the idea of making a better, more self-sustaining garden and with the physicality of falling in love, physically in love with this gardener person that she's playing. And that's the basic idea. That's the basic plot of the show. Again, it's a cute idea, pretty funny at times. And it's also sort of a creepy thing, the way that it's played. And that's why it's sort of stuck in my craw a little, because even though the character says several times that when she's seducing these women, when she's getting them into her clutches, as it were, that there's no, the women have to come to her, essentially. The women have to want to be. So there isn't a Me Too element to it. It's not being coerced. It's not someone in power saying to this woman, hey, if you don't sleep with me, if you don't become part of my world, then these bad things will happen. They make very, very clear that these women want to be taken. They want to be brought in. And yet there's still something a little bit off and creeped out about it. I can't really put it into words, unfortunately, but it still felt a little wrong as the play goes on. I mean, I hope I'm not giving away too much to say that one by one she conquers, except there's one character, and this is the funniest character in the play. And the real reason, if you're going to see Hurricane Diane, see it for this actress, and I hope I find her name because I did write it down, Mia Barron. She plays the ultimate tight-lipped, buttoned-down, really neurotic suburban housewife. You know, she's got the husband, she wants the lawn perfectly the way she envisions it, you know, just as it is in the horticultural magazines, the ones, you know, that have nothing really to do with self-sustaining and everything to do with looks and fake beauty or manufactured modern beauty that's clipped down to the last thorn. And boy, oh boy, when she feels her world being threatened, when her girlfriends from the block that she sees all the time, when they start disappearing, when they start going off and changing their lives because of this gardener, this truck driver, she holds down, she battens the hatches. And of course, there is a twist towards the end of it that does make the whole story worthwhile, and that does make us go, ah ha ha ha. But you know, I think what bugs me about the play, and that I wish the playwright Madeline George had done, is that she hadn't mixed the two. If she had just made this a story of Dionysus figuring out how to convince suburban Americans holding to what they think is right for them, holding to what they've been told by commercials and magazines is the way to eat and to grow crops and to keep your gardens, and figuring out ways to seduce them in that way, away from that, and try and heal the planet, I think it would have been a more fun show, a more interesting show, a more direct show. But I think when she starts throwing in all the kind of sexual stuff and the orgiastic stuff, I think it gets in the way of that story. And we start to wonder, what is that really about? Why do they have to go completely wild and insane and be not themselves anymore, but throw themselves completely under his spell, her spell as a god, as opposed to learning something really useful and then bringing that out to the world again. It is kind of interesting that it's trading on some Greek theater tropes. So there's a wild, crazy, orgiastic musical scene late in the play, and then a very sad hymn at the end, which is the reverse of a lot of Greek dramas, the way they used to do them, where they were sad and somber and a tragedy and, you know, terrible things happen. And then for the end, when they're taking their bows, they bring on a giant penis and start dancing around it and doing a happy, funny song, which was the old way. This is kind of the reverse. The crazy, erotic, zany song is in the play, and then it kind of ends with a sad hymn because, it doesn't quite go the way Dionysus wants it to. Anywho, also, what else can I tell you about the show? So see it for Mia Barron as the housewife. Also, Danielle Skastad has some pretty funny moments as an Italian woman on the block, because she's big and she screams too much for the small theater, but it's a big, boisterous, kind of fun performance. Becca Blackwell, not up to the other actresses' level in the show, and this is a very important role. He is a gender unspecific actor or transgender. I'm not sure the whole actual details of her thing, but they call themselves Becca Blackwell, and she's just not the actress that the others are. So she's kind of, it's nice in a way that she's fairly passive, so that it's not a threatening character who does a lot of threatening things in a way. And that kind of works, but she just doesn't have the stage presence and she doesn't have the stage voice to carry what is the lead role. And I think that hurts the production as well. So I'm going to give 2 3/4 stars to Hurricane Diane at New York Theater Workshop. It's extended through March 24th, so you can make up your own mind. It's certainly worth a look. Yeah, it's absolutely worth a look. And I will say this, even though I had my issues with it while I was watching it, it stayed in my head. You know how you want to go to the theater and then think about it later and talk about it later. And so many shows, you go to them, you enjoy them, and then boom, by the time you're walking to the subway, your head is on to other things. This one, it stayed in my head. I woke up the next morning thinking a bit about it. So Madeline George has done some worthwhile stuff in Hurricane Diane at New York Theater Workshop. Well, we're doing Inside Broadway here on Dave's Gone By. Before we finish up this segment of the show, I do have to do a couple of sad Broadway-related items. The first one is Gotta Say Farewell. And yes, here come the soap suds, ladies and gentlemen, quite literally, because Katherine Helmond, who played the wonderfully ditzy Jessica Tate on the TV show Soap, passed away last Saturday, February 23rd, from complications owing to Alzheimer's disease. She was 89 years old. She ran a summer theater. I didn't realize this. Early in her career, she ran a summer theater in the Catskills for 3 years. And then by the late 1950s, she was already teaching acting. And then she did TV and movies. As a matter of fact, she had a role in Alfred Hitchcock's last movie, Family Plot. And she was also had a featured role in Terry Gilliam's Brazil. And she was quite good in that. But people, of course, know her from television. They know her being a 4-time Tony nominee for that very fun sitcom Soap, although she's probably better known for being on Who's the Boss. She was twice Emmy nominated for that. Sorry, she was not Tony nominated for Soap. She was Emmy nominated, of course. And she was Emmy nominated for her role on Everybody Loves Raymond. She was also on the TV show Coach. So while I basically know her from Soap, she had a long TV career. But let's talk about Broadway, because this is Inside Broadway. She was in the 1969 revival of Noel Coward's Private Lives as an understudy for Tammy Grimes, playing the lead character Amanda. She was Tony nominated for being in a Eugene O'Neill play, a 1972 revival of The Great God Brown, directed by Hal Prince. And she was in there in repertory with Don Juan. It was the Phoenix Repertory Company that did bunches of shows like that in these classics. But she was nominated for that O'Neill show. And then I did see her on Broadway. I can't believe it couldn't have been. I think it was 1993. I may have written that wrong, not 83. But there was a show with the wonderful TV actor Harold Gould. She was in it called Mixed Emotions on Broadway. It didn't run very long, and I barely remember anything about it. It wasn't very good. I remember she looked good. I didn't notice on Soap as her being a particularly attractive woman, but I remember her being rather attractive and sexy on Broadway back in Mixed Emotions. There was nothing else to remember about that show. And it was her last Broadway appearance. But she made her last appearance on this planet last Saturday. So we'd say a fond farewell to Katherine Helmond from the Daverhood. And then you probably heard about this. Andreas Prewin, aka Andre Previn, conductor and musician, passed away on Thursday at the age of 89 in Manhattan. Jewish guy born in Berlin and got the hell out of Germany, and then emigrated to Paris, but thank goodness in 1938 they got out of Paris and then moved to Los Angeles. He already started getting musical work in films, and he started arranging and scoring movies, as well as doing a ton of jazz back in the day. He was as much known as a jazz musician as for classical conducting and writing. By 1967, he was conducting the Houston Symphony. He then went to the London Symphony Orchestra, where he stayed for a decade. And then he did the Pittsburgh Philharmonic, and he had a tumultuous time with the LA Philharmonic. So he bounced around quite a bit. I get the feeling he was a rather intricate, difficult personality. He was married, I believe, 5 times, all of them ending in divorce. His third marriage was, of course, to Mia Farrow, and they adopted a child named Sun Yi, so there's all that going on. And then his 5th and final marriage was to violinist Anne-Sophie Mutter. They divorced, although they ended up working together on concerts even after they split. But Andre Previn helped arrange and score a lot of movie musicals like Gigi and the movie of Porgy and Bess and Irma la Douce, which was not a musical, but which had underscoring in it that Previn worked on. And then he even did My Fair Lady, the movie version. Plus, he contributed songs on Broadway to 2 shows. He did 1958's A Party with Betty Comden and Adolph Green. He had a song in there. And most importantly, he actually had a Broadway show to his credit. He and Alan J. Lerner worked on the 1969 musical Coco, which was a hit because it had Katharine Hepburn in it, playing Coco Chanel, and he even got a Tony nomination. So yes, we do say a Broadway farewell, as well as a concert and movie farewell to the late Andre Previn. Let's hear a song from the Broadway production of 1969 Coco, the late great George Rose singing just a little bit. We can't play the whole thing on here because Facebook will give us an issue, but we can play a little bit of a song called When Your Lover Says Goodbye. And goodbye to Andre Previn.
When your lover says goodbye, wise are they who know. When your lover says goodbye, let her go.
Okay, a little bit of Coco there. A sip, shall we say, a sip of Coco on Dave's Gone By to end our Inside Broadway segment for this Saturday, March 2nd, 2019. It is, we haven't done a show this long in ages, but it's already 12:01 in the afternoon Eastern Time here in the Daverhood, 10:01 Mountain Time, if you're still watching back in our previous home of Greeley, Colorado, which we'll be going back to in a couple of months. But yeah, thanks for hanging with us. So many folks, David and Karen and Harlan and Martha and Trevor and Paula and, I can't even scroll back to see all the people who've tuned in. Remember that if you've missed a portion of the show, you can watch the archives right here on Facebook or listen or watch the archives at davesgoneby.com. But are we finished? Even though my throat seems to be finished. No, we have more. Oh boy, just a bit more to do before I let you go and get on with your weekends, get on with your Saturdays, because oh my gosh, we have our Colorado Limerick of the Damned, and as promised, we will tell a story of New Jersey. So you don't want to miss that. That's why people are still tuned in. They can't wait to hear about New Jersey. But before all of that, let me give one shout out again to our guest in the Daverhood. I want to thank so much to Renee Taylor for being on the program. You can go see her March 15th and 16th at the Gateway Playhouse in Bellport, New York, doing her one-woman show, My Life on a Diet. We're thrilled, we're honored that she's been with us in the Daverhood. She is just one of hundreds of talented, sometimes famous people who have visited Dave's Gone By. Well, we call those friends of the Daverhood, and we like to let you know what they've been up to since they've been on the program. Because, they might be in a movie, or they might be have written a book, and then years later they're doing other stuff. What are they doing now? Let's hear about our friends of the... Hey, why isn't that... let's try this again. Sorry, folks. Our friends of the Daverhood. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, a pleasure to talk about the people who have joined us on the show over the years. For example, congratulations to actor and dancer triple threat, essentially, Ben Vereen, who is going to be rejoining the visiting faculty at the Broadway Theater Project in Florida this summer. So a big thumbs up to Ben Vereen. He had some issues about a year or two ago that weren't things to be proud of, but he's over it, I guess, and made amends, etc. So yeah, big thumbs up for Ben Vereen, our friend of the Daverhood. I mentioned seeing the one act ages ago, Mr. Jericho, short operettas that are being done by the New York Gilbert and Sullivan Players at the Marjorie Dean Little Theater, and that is happening March 2nd and 3rd. So you have today and tomorrow to see it. New York Gilbert and Sullivan Players, led by our friend Albert Bergeret. Oh, and I mentioned Ben Vereen. Ben Vereen is busy this week. Today, he is doing the radio-style jazz musical, The Big Blind. And it's kind of almost like a musical reading, but it's for radio. So you can go see that at, where is that? The Lincoln Center's Rose Theater on West 65th Street. This is your last chance to catch the comedy Barefoot by our recent friend Thomas G. Waits. He co-wrote and directs that show. That is at the Gene Frankel Theater on Bond Street. If you're back in Colorado, by all means, go tonight. See at Swallow Hill Music in Denver, Daniels Hall, Peter Yarrow of Peter, Paul, and Mary. He was our guest in the Daverhood last year. Peter is playing in Daniels Hall tonight in Denver. Living folk music legend. Go see him. And then, what else can I tell you? Yes. David Pasquesi, whom you know from TJ and Dave, the improv troupe. Well, David Pasquesi is going to be the guest featured artist in this show off Broadway called Nassim, Nassim. That is at the Barrow Street Theater. And I haven't seen it, but it's this weird show where it's partially scripted, but they get an actor who hasn't seen the script and is just given instructions on what to do and to hold this conversation on the stage. So every show, they get a different actor to do it. And it's going to be David Pasquesi tonight off Broadway at the Barrow Street Theater. And then, of course, reminding you that Irene Sankoff and David Hine, they are the writers of Come From Away on Broadway, a wonderful show. Well, they're going to celebrate the 3rd anniversary of that musical at the 92nd Street Y. They're having a panel on Sunday, tomorrow. I'm not sure if it's afternoon or evening. Irene Sankoff and David Hine talking about their wonderful show. Starting tomorrow and running through mid-March, Karen Mason, the cabaret singer and actress, she is at Birdland. And then starting on March 5th, Ruben Santiago Hudson is going to be starring in his own play, Lackawanna Blues, at the Mark Taper Forum in Los Angeles. On Wednesday, our friend Michelle LaRue performs Women Breaking Loose, which is a one-woman show with her reenacting stories by Kate Chopin and Edna Ferber. That is at the Englewood Public Library in Englewood, New Jersey. And then coming to Friday and Saturday, this coming weekend, Alice Ripley is the witch in a concert version of Into the Woods at the Patchogue Theater on Long Island. Playing now through March 10th, it's Alice by Heart at Manhattan Class Company. That is a musical which features a book by Stephen Sater and possibly lyrics by him too. That is at also at the Bond Street Theater, Manhattan Class Company. And then the Band's Visit, a terrific musical on Broadway. Stephen Sater co-wrote that one as well. In fact, those are both Duncan Sheik and Stephen Sater compositions. I want to let you know that Avi Hoffman, he's in Florida, and he has this series called Yiddishkeit at the Betsy. It's panels, it's readings, it's one acts, it's actual shows, all involving Yiddishkeit. Avi Hoffman in Florida. Beautiful, the Carole King musical is on Broadway at the Sondheim Theater with a book by Douglas McGrath. To Kill a Mockingbird, we were talking about that before. Well, Dakin Matthews, our friend, is playing the judge in that show at the Schubert Theater. Daniel Breaker is still in Hamilton, playing Aaron Burr. Danny Bursting plays Alfie Doolittle in My Fair Lady at the Vivian Beaumont Theater. Jim Caruso's cast party every Monday night at Birdland. Leslie Jordan and Vicki Lawrence, we talked about them before, they're in The Cool Kids on Fox TV on Friday nights. Evan Seplow is the founder and editor of StageBuddy.com. Dr. Demento is the founder and music merriment maker at drdemento.com. And a reminder that Eva Heinemann does her theater review show, High Drama. You can find out more about that on her Facebook page. Charlie Gross and Leslie Hovan Blake, they co-host Two on the Aisle. Both of those shows are on Manhattan Neighborhood Network, and you can even screen them or on your computer at mnn.org. And finally, a shout out to Bob Cudmore, who does podcasts about upstate New York history at bobcudmore.com. And those, my friends, are the friends of the Daverhood for this Saturday. It's about 10 after 12 Eastern Time here in the Daverhood with me, Dave Lefkowitz, doing the Dave's Gone By Facebookio Podcastio program of the stream. So great to be with you every Saturday. We start at 9. We're supposed to end at 11. Well, yeah. Well, you know, we have fun. So the talk sometimes gets away from me. And I hope you're all enjoying it. And I hope that you are enjoying some of the goofy things that we do. For example, our Colorado Limerick of the Damned. This is every week. We take a town or city or statutory town, whatever that is, in Colorado, and I do a little short 5-line poem about them, usually kind of risque and horrible and disgusting. So get the children out of the room just in time for our Colorado Limerick of the Damned.
You're the poetry man.
A limerick is a comic verse of 5 lines, in which lines 1, 2, and 5 will end with words that rhyme. And likewise, verses 3 and 4 also end with words that rhyme. So this is a limerick. Rocky Mountain,
The dulcet tones of Christine Lavin there, reminding us that it's time for our Colorado Limerick of the Damned. And remember, as he said, the limerick is 5 lines verses, or 1 verse, and the whole point of them is to be risque and disgusting and cute and funny. So drag the kids away from the radios, throw them out in the street, let them play in traffic for about 30 seconds while we do our Colorado Limerick of the Damned, which has to do with Fort Morgan, Colorado today. Fort Morgan, by the time the actual fort in Fort Morgan closed in 1868, it had been used by 11 cavalry and infantry regiments. It is currently a strongly agricultural place, but it also does have a Cargill meatpacking plant there, which is, no joke, this is from Wikipedia, filled with Somalians. And oddly enough, this is one of these weird Colorado things. Fort Morgan has an Amtrak stop. You can actually take a commuter Amtrak at Fort Morgan, but it doesn't have an airport. And the closest airport is Denver, which is 75 miles away. And by the way, Fort Morgan is 9 miles east of Brush. So you know what a happening town Fort Morgan is. Well, it's really super happening now on Dave's Gone By, because we're going to do our Colorado Limerick of the day for Fort Morgan, Colorado. There is a young girl in Fort Morgan, nice bod, but a face like a gorgon. So what I advise is aim for her thighs, 'cause you got no eyes in your organ. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, that is our Colorado Limerick of the day. Please send your complaint letters to davesgoneby@aol.com, davesgoneby@aol.com, or message me here right on our Facebook page, Radio Dave Lefkowitz. And we still have a little bit of radio to do, as promised. I don't know if we can do the whole book, God knows, but only fair, as I have been promising, to have just a bit of story time.
Tell me a story, tell me a story, tell me a story. Remember what you said. You promised me, you said you would. You got to give in, so I'll be good. Tell me a story, then I'll go to bed.
Yes, we have story time on Dave's Gone By. Now, this started over a year ago when I found a book that I just had to share with my viewers and listeners. It was called A Cow for Hansel. I found it in a gas station, essentially. And we read it cover to cover, week by week on the show. And I've been doing a lot shorter books since then, and trying to do all different sorts of things for the kids at home. For example, last week we did a book about medical emergencies. And then we had a book about camping safety featuring a Colorado bear. And we also did a Little Bill book from Bill Cosby's Little Bill character. We've been all over the map, ladies and gentlemen, but we never did a creepy, scary horror story. We never did any Stephen King, any H.P. Lovecraft, anything like that. But I think it's about time. I think we're due to have a story that will give you the chills, the shudders, that will make you, huddle tight to your computers, wrap your arms around them, and ask for protection. Because, ladies and gentlemen, our story time, our story of the day here on Dave's Gone By, Be afraid, be very afraid. It's the United States, past and present. Look at New Jersey, past and present, by Joanne Mattern. So yes, we're going to go deep in the heart of Jersey, my friends, on this episode of Dave's Gone By on Storytime. This is a Rosen Central book. That's the, Rosen Central, excuse me, is the publisher. Published in 2010. Oh, and the publishing company is on East 21st Street in Manhattan, if you want to complain. This is the first edition. Look how crisp. Smells beautiful. The smell of books. So, if you're curious about the cover, let's take a look. On the top left, you've got Danforth Cooking Company's Locomotive and Machine Works, which was one of the many locomotive factories in Paterson during the 1800s. So there you go. There's locomotive work. Woo-woo. What else? Top right is Lucy the Elephant, located in the seaside community of Margate, one of New Jersey's most unusual tourist attractions. So there's Lucy the Elephant, right? I'm in a mirror image here, so it's a little tough. There's Lucy, okay? And I love Lucy. Bottom is Bradley Beach, one of the family-friendly attractions along the New Jersey shore, and a great place to cool off on a hot summer day. So there you got beach with funny. The girls don't quite look here like they do on the Jersey Shore TV show. Yeah, I don't think that would have been a TV hit right there. But anywho, just being a little cruel. Let's begin. Let's begin this wonderful book about the state of New Jersey. New Jersey's location near the big cities of Philadelphia and New York, along with its Atlantic coastline, have made it one of the most populous and vital states in the nation. So just here it is. If you can see, it's sort of like everything is green and vegetative and beautiful. And then you've got this glowing, soar nuclear site that's in red. Oh, our dog Ufti's hungry and he's letting us know. Ufti, your food is cooking, it's being made. I'll feed you as soon as this show's over. Let's do the introduction, shall we? We shall. New Jersey is one of the smallest states in the United States, but it is big in history and cultural importance. It was one of the original 13 colonies, and it went on to become one of the original 13 states. From its earliest days, when it was settled by Native Americans, I guess they were still using that term then instead of First Nations, to its growth as a center of industry, New Jersey has been a diverse and fascinating state. Today, the state features big cities, rural farms, sprawling suburbs, and a variety of places and people. New Jersey's location has made it a vital part of American history. George Washington marched through New Jersey. He wanted to get to somewhere better. He didn't stay there, notice. He marched through it to get to somewhere else. And several important battles were fought in the state during the American Revolution. The state's coastal location has helped it become a hub, my friends, of industry and a destination for tourists. In addition, New Jersey is located near two United States cities, major ones, New York and Philly. This has helped it grow into a populous and important part of the United States. Over the centuries, New Jersey has grown from a rural area of woodlands, fields, and swamps. Well, what's nice is everything old is new again, because politically it's still swamp, to a state with a variety of businesses and fascinating people. New Jersey residents have become famous all over the world for their accomplishments in music, the arts, politics, and science. You could basically use the same paragraph in every state book that they do in this series. Some of the world's most important inventions were created in New Jersey, that's true, and many popular music works were inspired by life in the state. Let's take a closer look at New Jersey and discover its secrets. I hope Uncle Floyd isn't here. I really do. Here's the geography. Hold your nose, folks. Here's the geography of New Jersey. Almost every state in the United States is bigger than New Jersey. It measures only 8,000 square miles, about 21,000 square kilometers, which ranks it 47th in total area among states. It borders New York State to the north, but the other three sides of it are surrounded by water: the Hudson River, New York Bay, and the Atlantic Ocean. I feel bad for New York Bay. Don't you? Everybody knows the Hudson River, right? It's famous New York thing. Pete Seeger, famously tried to clean it up with his Clearwater stuff. And of course, everybody knows the Atlantic Ocean, the most major ocean besides the Pacific. But New York Bay, it's like the red-headed stepchild of water around New York. Well, let's give it, let's give a big a shout out to New York Bay. I feel better now, don't you? Okay. The Delaware River separates the state from Pennsylvania and Delaware on the west, and the Delaware Bay and Atlantic Ocean border the state on the south. Let's look at the geographic regions of New Jersey. New Jersey is divided into 4 main geographic regions. Despite the state's size, there's a great deal of diversity within its natural landscape, because you have a candy factory over here and a clothing factory over there. The Atlantic Coastal Plain, now that is New Jersey's largest natural region. It covers central and southern New Jersey and also includes much of the 127 miles of coastline. That contains many barrier islands to the east of the mainland. So you don't even need to build a wall, you've got your natural barrier. Most of the land in the region is low and flat, kind of like some of the girls I dated, without any tall mountains. The land in the southwest part of the state is very fertile, like some of the girls I dated, while the east part is made up of pine forests and saltwater marshes. The Atlantic Coastal Plain also includes the Pine Lands, or Pine Barrens, which is a large area of bogs, swamps, marshes, and pine forests in the southern part of the state. Because of the large number of unusual plants and animals that live in the Pine Barrens, the U.S. Congress established the area as the country's first national reserve in 1978. Cool. And then there's the Piedmont. The Piedmont is a narrow area, only 20 miles, which cuts a swath across the northern part of New Jersey, just above the coastal plain. It covers only about a fifth of the state, but it includes the state's major rivers like the Hudson, the Raritan, Ramapo, and Passaic. The Piedmont is mainly filled with low hills and ridges. However, the land drops sharply where the Passaic River flows over a cliff and into a canyon in the Watchung Mountains. Because if you see that water coming down at you, you're going to go, Watchung! That's the kind of comedy we do right here on Dave's Gone By. This spot is called the Great Falls and is the second highest waterfall east of the Mississippi River, surpassed only by Niagara. The Piedmont also includes a wide, tall area of cliffs called the Palisades, located across the Hudson. South of the Palisades are 2 wetlands, the Meadowlands and the Great Swamp. They've actually gone to the trouble with capital letters yet of calling something the Great Swamp. Let's go to the Highlands. New Jersey's Highlands are northwest of the Piedmont. This area is sometimes called New England Upland. The Highlands region features, are you falling asleep yet? If I were a kid, I had to read this for class. It's very helpful. It's very clearly written, but jeepers, geography, man. The Highlands region features many lakes created thousands of years ago when a glacier moved through the area. So we're gonna illustrate this with Overpants Bear, who's going to move very slowly across the screen as a way of representing the glacier. He's moving glacially. Actually, I should get We Bear Bear's Ice Bear to do this one. Can't get ice. I was moving behind me then. Okay, well done. Good job, Bear. All right. Along with the lakes, the Highlands feature thick forests and rocky ridges. The Appalachian River and Ridge and Valley region. We've got one more friggin' region of New Jersey here. The northwestern corner of New Jersey is known as the Appalachian region and Valley. The area is rugged and mountainous. The Kittatinny Mountains, that's a great name. The Kittatinny Mountains are located here, and they include the High Point, the highest place in New Jersey. It's fertile land and supports many farms and apple orchards. The Delaware River flows through this region and has carved a deep gorge in the Kittatinny Mountains, which are part of the Appalachian chain. This gorge is called the Delaware Water Gap and features rock walls more than 1,200 feet deep. Okay, let's do one more page of this thrilling, exciting, and scary book, New Jersey, and we'll talk about the animal life of the Garden State. More than 500 species of animals call New Jersey home. The state's forests include a large population of white-tailed deer and black bears, so there's integration. Some smaller mammals include chipmunks, skunks, squirrels, foxes, possums, raccoons, and muskrats. So you can find muskrat love in New Jersey. Jersey is also home to a wide variety of birds. Songbirds like cardinals, robins, chickadees, and finches. The state also has a large population of shorebirds like sandpipers and gulls and herons, along with water birds like geese and ducks. Raptors, well, birds of prey like hawks and bald eagles are also found there. New Jersey is located along a major migration route for birds, and nobody stops and stays in New Jersey unless you have to. George Washington marched through it, and don't look back. The birds are like, oh, wow, New Jersey, hey, where's Massachusetts? So it's located along a major migration route for birds called the Atlantic Flyway. Every year, thousands of birds fly over the state as they migrate from north to south and back again. New Jersey has many reptiles and amphibians. Species of frogs live in the lakes, ponds, and streams, which also provide a home for painted turtles. Folks, if you could, please, it's dangerous. It's not cute. They can't breathe because it closes up their, don't paint your turtles. I'm just really sad that people, and spotted turtles, when turtles get measles from being painted, and eastern snapping turtles when you make them mad. Garter snakes and other types of snakes are common in fields and woods. I'll save that for next time, because that's when it really, this is just the preamble. This is before like the it clown tears the arm off, because the next part of the book is Deer Invasion. So it's like a zombie part of the New Jersey book. We've been reading New Jersey Past and Present by Joanne Mattern here on Storytime on Dave's Gone By. Oh, I hope you found that exciting. Oh, I hope you were sitting there with your cocoa and marshmallows and finding it informative and beautiful and worth tuning into every Saturday here on the Dave's Gone By Facebookio program of the stream with me, Dave, my beautiful brown overpants bear, Potato, of course. Hi. You didn't really do much co-hosting the last hour or so. I don't know, I got a little tired. I needed my peel rest. Oh, did you get, yeah, I'm raring to go. Okay, good, Potato, because we're just about to end the show. I'll give you your catch-up lunch in just a moment or two. But I want to thank so many people for tuning in and being part of the program. First of all, biggest thanks of all to, well, my darling and adorable wife, Joyce, who tunes in and joins us for the first hour and a half of the program. Love you, my darling. And to Renee Taylor. Go see her March 15th and 16th at the Bellport, well, at the Gateway Theater in Bellport. So she's doing the show called My Life on a Diet. It's going to be hysterical. March 15th and 16th at the Gateway Theater in Bellport, Long Island. Get your tickets now. And thank her so much for being with us in the Daverhood and talking with the great Rabbi Saul. Thanks to Rabbi Saul Solomon also. Rabbi Saul, you know, he's got a website, shalomdammit.com, shalom, D-A-M-M-I-T, shalomdammit.com. That is where you can read his rabbinical reflections. You can listen to a lot of the old interviews that he did for the show. You can also see the TV show that he did for Long Island Cable TV, as well as his one-man off-Broadway show, Shalom Dammit, An Evening with Rabbi Saul Solomon. All of that at his website, shalomdammit.com. You might also want to check out his Twitter feed at Rabbi Saul Solomon, at Rabbi Saul Solomon. Okay, who else? I want to thank so much the folks who got me in touch with Renee Taylor. And I'm so sorry, I don't have your email. I don't have those names in front of me. I should have noted them down. No, excuse me. It was Bill Coyle. I did. Thank you, Bill Coyle, for arranging the Renee Taylor interview. She was wonderful. It was delightful. Thank you to everybody who's tuned in. We just got my cousin Adam just tuned in. We're ending the show in 2 minutes. Remember, Adam and everybody else, you can go back and listen to it. We'll save the show on Facebook, so you can watch it at any time. And then by tomorrow, we'll also have it on my website, shalomdammit.com. We'll have the video and the audio and some pictures for the show. davesgoneby.com. This is what happens when I don't stop for 3.5 hours. davesgoneby.com for this archive and for the archives going back to the very beginning of the show. And there's photos of the show and new information, all the segments that we have. Check it out, davesgoneby.com. And of course, most importantly, tell your friends. Tell your friends about the website. Tell your friends to like and follow us and see us first on Facebook, so that we don't just have a couple of hundred people watching us, but maybe a couple of thousand eventually, to really bring more folks into the Daverhood. Well, it just remains for me to thank everybody for watching and listening. We expect to be back next Saturday, which would be March 9th, I believe, for a brand new edition of Dave's Gone By from 9 until 11 plus Eastern Time, right here in the Daverhood. So I'm going to leave you with the most appropriate song I could possibly think of, since our guest in the Daverhood is Renee Taylor, and we thank her so much for being with us. We've got to play Walk Away Renee by the Left Bank. And then we'll see you next week and Gone By. Yes, and we're walking away from the show, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for tuning in. Tell everybody about the show. Get them on Facebook. Get them tuning in and following us. And thank you. And watch out for the snow out there. It stopped snowing, so it's all just messy and wet. And it'll probably be gone by tomorrow, but I'll have to shovel it anyway. That's New York, my friends, and Gone By.